Welcome to tonight's citywide Sports Network college football telecast on KCWX-TV in San Antonio and CW33 Dallas. You're watching a Conference USA rivalry game on CSN as the North Texas Mean Green host the UTSA Roadrunners at Apogee Stadium. And welcome to the Gun Automotive Group pregame show. It's presented by Gun Automotive Group, where buying your next vehicle is real simple. Alongside Chuck Mikatenik, Mike Lefko with you. A heck of a matchup tonight for North Texas and for UTSA, Chuck. North Texas coming off a bye. What do they have to do to get ready for this one?
Well, first of all, Mike, I mean, this is a huge game for both teams. North Texas is the only unbeaten team in the western side of Conference USA. And then UTSA, they've got designs on a conference title too. They stubbed their toe in their opener last time out against Southern Miss, so an absolutely huge mid-season game for both of these teams.
Yeah, we know the stakes. We know the stakes are big. For North Texas, who's going to be the guy who leads their offense?
Well, Mason Fine is their quarterback, and Fine being the operative word here. I mean, this kid's on pace to have a 3,000-yard season. He's had 11 touchdown passes already. Not the biggest guy on the planet, but super accurate with the football, and you can tell he's really starting to look the part now that he's a sophomore quarterback after seeing a lot of playing time as a freshman. And one of the key matchups tonight, I think, is going to be this UNT offense against UTSA's defensive front. They are absolutely stacked on their defensive line and in their linebackers, but in particular, this young man right here, Marcus Davenport. You see the career sack leader at UTSA. This guy, 6'7", super athletic, former basketball player. He will get after you. He will test you. He will be a force all game long.
Well, the third member of our broadcast crew, Gary Streisky, caught up with head coach Seth Luttrell and asked him what the stakes mean in this one.
Well, you can pretty much throw all that out the doors. Games like this and rival games, emotions are going to be, high. And I think the team that settles in quickest and makes sure they, just execute routine plays and takes care of the football is the team that is going to have more success.
When we come back, Chuck's keys to victory, the Gun Automotive keys to victory after this. North Texas 3-2, UTSA 3-1, and it's time for tonight's Guns Real Simple Keys to Victory, brought to you by Gun Automotive. Real simple. Chuck, tonight, what will UTSA need to do?
Oh yeah, for UTSA, the first thing they've got to do is finish drives. Way too many field goals last time out against Southern Miss, 3 of them to be exact. Secondly, they want to limit explosive plays. They got burned on 3 huge home run balls the last time out against Southern Miss. They want to tighten that up as well. And then lastly, D-line dominance. And then for North Texas, they want to start quickly. In their 2 losses, they felt like they haven't really put a whole game together. And so they want to see if they can get off to a good start tonight. And then secondly, win the turnover battle. That's key in almost every game. And then as mentioned, play all 4 quarters. They've done a really good job of doing that once conference play has started, and this team is hot.
Well, North Texas is 2-0 in conference for the first time since 2004. UTSA trying to grab that first conference win. Kickoff comes up after this from Apogee Stadium. They're getting hyped up in Denton. Time for a look at tonight's game time conditions. They're brought to you by John Wayne Service Company. When you need heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical help, make just one call to fix it all. Call 210-293-6700. Kick fielded at the 2. And North Texas wrapped up immediately. They'll start just in front of their 10-yard line. Tonight's game time conditions, well, a little steamier. 91 degrees at kick. And just a bit of wind as the sun still kind of hangs high in the sky here in Denton. Well, Chuck, we talked a lot about Mason Fine, the sophomore quarterback, leads the conference in passing yards and passing touchdowns, and here he is leading his team out onto the field to begin the game.
Yeah, playing in a system like this, you got to be very accurate, and Mason Fine has been that all season long, and just a delight to coach. The coaches were telling us earlier this week, works his rear end off and plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he is under 6 feet, but this guy's a gamer and he can beat you with his feet as well.
And there's another good one, Jeffrey Wilson, who dives forward across the 15. We'll talk about Wilson and the rest of this starting lineup for North Texas. Tonight's starting lineups presented by IHOP. Eat up every moment. For the Mean Green, their starters, Rico Bussey Jr., a good one, but Jalen Guyton, their wide receiver, 14 receptions, 211 yards. And we've touched on Fine, who enters the game, 1442 yards passing and 11 passing touchdowns. That's first in the conference. Fine, airing it out long. That's Guyton, leaps and knocked away by Devron Davis. A good secondary by UTSA leads this defense. And for UTSA's starting lineup, also presented by IHOP, eat up every moment, Marcus Davenport. You touched on him, Chuck, in the open. Well, the sack man, he has the all-time sack record at UTSA, and he's such an imposing presence on that D-line.
Yeah, just outstanding one-on-one coverage from Double D over here on the near sideline. They've really put these corners on an island to UTSA in their defense, and he was equal to the task there early on in this ball game.
North Texas needs the 22. Fine to the corner, spinning out of a tackle and diving forward towards the marker. Jalen Darden comes up with the first down reception.
Darden doing a really nice job. He was going to be short of the sticks, but puts a move on Nate Gaines, who over-pursued. He's just able to slip past Josiah Tauaefa and lunge for the sticks and get UNT a fresh set here in the early going.
Well, all of our first half replays are brought to you by Thomas J. Henry. When you or your family need help, call Thomas J. Henry 24/7 nights and weekends, 210-656-1000. Jeffrey Wilson dives forward for a few. So not only do you have Mason Fine, who leads the conference in passing, you have Jeffrey Wilson, who leads him in yards per game, 133.2 yards per game. What a balanced attack when you can hit him with the ground and hit him with the pass.
Yeah, and I mean on both of these teams, actually, they've got skilled players everywhere you look, and it's a reason why both of these teams have winning records early on in this season. Both offenses extremely efficient, extremely productive.
After the gain of 4, here's Fine, airing it out again. Tight coverage knocked away by Austin Jupy, who was hanging all over Turner Smiley.
Austin Jupy, the other side of that coin, with Devron Davis doing a really nice job. UTSA also has top-of-the-line defenders in terms of their DBs at both corners and safeties. Even their invert guys like Levine, super talented, super athletic, and those guys really holding up their end here in the early going.
Now, North Texas has already converted 1 third down this drive. They've converted 37% of their third downs this season. Guyton in motion. Fine's got time, tosses over to him. Jalen Guyton has space, and Jalen Guyton takes it across to the 45-yard line. Another first down for the Mean Green.
Guyton's having a tremendous season, and Fine recognizing where he felt like he had the advantage to go. Matched up against the safety right here. Just runs a little crossing route and gets it over the first line of defense. Completed pass. So far, the Mean Green 2 for 2 on third down.
Jalen Guyton, immensely talented. Allen High School, went to Notre Dame, was only there a semester though, and then transferred to Trinity Valley. And now here tearing it up for North Texas. Design run, Fine has space on the left side, across midfield, where he's twisted up and brought down by Carl Austin III.
Yeah, gave UTSA the look like he was going to flip it out. Then just decided they go weak side, now have a bunch of guys pulling. So UTSA is going to have to factor that into their bag of tricks trying to defend this North Texas offense.
Now, North Texas very good on the opening drive of games. So they've played 5 games this year. They've scored on the opening drive of every game except their last one. And they are pretty dangerous on opening drives of the game. And here's Guyton, an end around, and he's got space, and another first down run.
Yeah, they're working on that left side here on these last 2 plays, and you're not surprised with North Texas's offense having its way against any defense, but they're not playing any defense. They're playing one of the top-ranked defenses in the entire country in UTSA, who's giving up fewer than 270 yards per game, but North Texas ain't no joke, averaging almost 40 points per.
0-0 opening drive of the game, and our first half scoreboard is sponsored by John Wayne Service Company. Just one call to fix it all. AC, plumbing, electrical, and heating. Call 210-293-6700. And another long shot. Can't get pulled in, though, by Jalen Darden.
Well, Josiah Tauaefa looked like he was going to come on a blitz, pulled back, and then did a little bit of a delay. And I think what Mason Fine saw down there was he had nobody open and intentionally overshot his receiver. Just lived to fight another down.
Now, Graham Harrell talked a lot to us about Mason Fine's development into his sophomore season. And really, it's a young receiving class as well. A lot of these big performers, all sophomores, are relatively newcomers for the Mean Green. Pass tipped, and Nate Gaines had that one up in the air, and Carl Austin III was trying to eye that one for an interception. There's that ball-hawking UTSA defense.
Yeah, check out 93, who we featured on the open. He is coming right through the block and getting a shot on Mason Fine. He let that ball go quickly. He had to because of the pressure of 93. I mean, every single week you just see a gear from this guy that is quite uncommon at any level of college football.
3rd and 10, they need the 30-yard line. North Texas already converted 2 third downs already this drive. Here comes the house. Fine steps out of it. And there's a wide open Jalen Guyton.
Wow, what pocket presence by Mason Fine. He's got a guy coming up the A-gap, unblocked, and, oh, he got a good chip there at the end, but kept his head, stepped up in the pocket, and delivered another rocket, and Guyton is getting his early. But that's what happens. If you don't get home and you're sending the house like that, it's tough for the guys on the back end to hold up that long.
Yeah, UTSA sold out on the blitz, and Fine stepped up and converted the 21-yard pass. Deep drop, short slant, in and out of the hands, and incomplete of Michael Lawrence.
Already you see what UTSA likes to do. They love to bring the pressure. As we said, their front seven, about as talented a group as you're going to see. And they do put their corners in a lot of one-on-one press situations. And UTSA's been pretty good, minus this third down. But again, got to give North Texas credit. They're very talented all the way around on offense.
And the D line for UTSA usually helps out those corners. Quick pitch. Here's Darden around the left side. Trying to step close to the first down marker. He'll be short, and it will be another big third down coming up. UTSA hasn't gotten off the field just yet.
Well, Rico Bussey, one of the wide receivers, had a couple of guys over there doing a really nice job with the traffic situation and allowing that run to go for as far as it did. I mean, you were looking at, long third down conversion attempt if that run doesn't produce anything. Instead, it's third and completely manageable, and you've got pretty much your whole playbook at your disposal when it's this kind of a down and distance.
North Texas started at its own 12. They've converted 2 third downs. They've marched into the red zone. Fine, taking it himself. Good block out in front. Mason Fine charging forward, and he dives to the end zone. It's a touchdown.
The Great Wall of China out there blocking in front of him. And just super patient, waiting for some of those blocks to develop. And then guys that are throwing blocks stay on their blocks. Just an outstanding job right there by Jeffrey Wilson, getting out in front, lowering some wood for his boy, getting him in the house. And number 6 has got the early 6 as they take a look under the tent to make sure that that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, how about Jeffrey Wilson kind of leading the way, almost tackled his own man forward. And if this stands, that's a 14-play, 88-yard drive capped off by Mason Fine churning in from 12 yards out. And what do you think? I mean, it's close, and it looked like he stumbled forward, but, we know before, Chuck, who really knows with these reviews? We're not the experts, that's for sure.
No, that's right. You can look at it a million different ways, and it all comes down to angles and
see, there's a knee getting close to down. The knee is down. You don't know where the ball is.
You might have a better look from this angle. But again, unless the camera's right at the line, it's hard to tell whether he breaks the plane of the goal or not. So we'll see and look. Either way, it was a heck of a first drive, or might still be in progress, but UNT goes right down the field against a very good defense.
Yeah.
Hunter's knee was down with the ball at the 1 yard line. It'll be first and goal, North Texas at the 1 yard line. Clock will start when they're ready for play.
Well, that negates Mason Fine touchdown. Would have been his first rushing touchdown of the season. But not bad. First and goal at the 1 for North Texas.
Yeah, and as we said, I mean, they've had really good success here on this opening drive, and that was one of their keys. They wanted to start off quickly in this football game, and we weren't really sure how they were going to respond to start this game. It's one thing to, have a bye and all that, but sometimes it's hard to get kick-started again, but so far for UNT, not so much.
Bobbled snap.
Yeah.
And look at UTSA just submerge Mason Fine.
Well, obviously, when you can't find the ears on the snap, it's going to blow off the rhythm of the play. And UTSA taking full advantage there, so they catch a break on first down. Fine was lucky that ball came right back to him.
They actually fall back a yard, back to the 2 yard line. To bring in some more personnel, and they had packed it in. Now they're going to spread it wide a little bit.
Yeah, I always like these formations down by the goal line because it's exactly what it does. I mean, it spreads the defense out. You can run or throw out of this formation.
Fine hands it up to Wilson. He is stood up and driven back by Marcus Davenport and C.J. Levine. He got the initial surge for UTSA.
Yeah, C.J. Levine really doing a nice job plugging holes right there. Just shoots through the gap. Look at that. Got a free shot and did not whiff. Squared him up, and now all of a sudden, UTSA kind of arching its back a little bit here and see if they can get a stop on third down. It would be a huge turn of events, especially after it looked like Mason Fine had scored.
Yeah, this has been the best down for North Texas. 3 for 3 on third down conversions. Fine has space, and Fine has the end zone. A 2-yard touchdown run for Mason Fine, and North Texas takes the lead on the opening drive of the game.
Well, Fine was delayed, but not denied. Saving his best for that third down play, and North Texas showing early on that when they get guys out and they're pulling, running outside, they've had some success. So we'll see if UTSA can make some adjustments here going forward, but North Texas out to the early lead.
It was quite the march. Started back on the 12-yard line. 88 yards, and the 2-yard run by Fine capped it off after 17 plays. Extra point up and good, and just like that, 7-0, North Texas. So a mix of offense, but it was all Mason Fine, the conference's leading passer, runs it in, and the Mean Green leads 7-0. Conference USA's best offense marched right down the field, 88 yards on the opening drive of the game. And Chuck, not only did they march right down the field, they also ate up a lot of time to kind of take away and minimize UTSA's opportunities.
Well, what's interesting about that first drive is, Mason Fine's completing over 60% of his passes. He's only 4 of 9 on that drive, but when you're perfect on third down, it really doesn't matter. Great opening start for UNT.
Kick fielded by Winnigan right to the goal line. He's a speedster, had the longest touchdown this season for UTSA. Knocked out of bounds, and that's where the Roadrunners will take over. UTSA and another potent offense will have it. First drive for Frank Wilson's offense when we return. Mean Green lead by 7. The Mean Green lead 7-0. UTSA's offense on the field for the first time tonight. And Seth Luttrell, second season as the North Texas head coach. He has turned this team around. And all first half scoring summaries are presented by the San Antonio Auto and Truck Show, happening November 9th through the 12th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. 88 yards in 17 plays, and Mason Fine capped off the scoring with the 2-yard run. Sturm under center to start this one for UTSA's offense. And off to Rhodes, gets upended right at the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the UTSA offense presented by IHOP. IHOP beat up every moment. Dalton Sturm coming off a career high 367 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Southern Miss. And Jalen Rhodes, who just had that carry, was bottled up last week, but he's rushed for 366 yards this season to lead the Roadrunners' rushing attack. Hand off to Rhodes again, and now he has some space. Jalen Rhodes out in open field, and he's run out of bounds at midfield by Eric Jenkins.
Yeah,
a flag on the play.
Last week against Southern Miss, they were junking up the box badly to try to stop Jalen Rhodes, and they were pretty effective doing it. And Jalen coming out here with a nice early run. Looks like it might be for naught, though, with the hanky on the ground. Or perhaps not.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 53, 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Now that's Jordan Wright, who has been pressed into duty because some of the injuries along the UTSA offensive line. And they really have been snake-bitten this year. Chuck, they lost one of their starting O-linemen in the first series against Baylor. They lost another one. Reed Dara got hurt on the first play against Southern Miss. So this has been a banged-up, almost patchwork offensive line at times.
Yeah, and even as banged up as they were last week, I really felt like those guys did their part holding up, and UTSA's offense got better as the game went along. But, you know, penalties was something that killed UTSA all the way up until last week. They cannot have any of those today.
Tyrell Clay in the backfield. Pass goes out and in and out of the hands of Greg Campbell Jr. That was a big hit by Keemon Hall. Let's take a look at the North Texas defensive lineup. And again, tonight's starting lineups are presented by IHOP. Eat up every moment. The man who really leads them, Kashawn McClain, 2016 second-team all-conference selection, has an interception and a couple of pass breakups this year, and he's a senior at Rosenberg, Texas. Big test now for UTSA. North Texas was able to convert 3 third downs. Here's the first third down of the game for the Roadrunners. Sturm has time, throws and knocked away at the last moment. Josh Stewart was covered by one of their best corners, Eric Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins stride for stride with one of UTSA's best receivers, Josh Stewart. See the offensive line doing a great job holding up and giving Dalton a clean window to throw to, but throw just a little bit towards Josh's back shoulder, which allowed the DB to get his hand in and knock the ball away.
Yanni Routsis back to punt for UTSA. He's averaging about 37 yards per punt this year. And Jalen Darden's back for North Texas. Sidewinding kick and a good bounce for UTSA. Trickling all the way down inside the 20.
Is that a live ball?
Well, UTSA is going to run that one in. It was touched by a North Texas player. I think the official had already whistled it dead. And
yeah, you couldn't advance the punt anyway on something like that either, but it was interesting to see how close North Texas was to that football.
North Texas up 7. They'll have it again when we return. The Mean Green back on offense. On their first drive, went 88 yards down the field, and Mason Fine had nearly every piece of yardage. 49 yards passing, 21 yards rushing, and the 2-yard touchdown run. Wilson probing, dives forward. He's wrapped up by Kevin Strong. And right now, let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team. Gary Streisky joins us on the sideline.
Mike, Chuck, much appreciated, guys. You touched earlier about how Graham Harrell and Mason Fine kind of both had those growing pains, both in their first seasons at UNT. Last year, Graham telling us this week that he would pretty much look at every play as if he was still slinging the rock back at Texas Tech, like, oh man, that was a misread. I could have made that read. I could have made that throw. So, of course, they had to battle through all of that stuff together, no matter whatever happened in those meetings and however they had that dialogue. It's clearly working because Mason Fine putting up quite a sophomore campaign, guys.
And putting up another one right there all the way to Jalen Guyton for the score. Right on cue, talking about Mason Fine, and he airs it out once again. And there's Jalen Guyton, who had 211 yards last week and another big touchdown grab. And all of a sudden, it's 13-0 Mean Green.
Yeah, he had 2 catches already in this game on the first drive for 36 yards. And then North Texas going way up top, and Guyton with a lightning strike. Fine right on the button again, and North Texas out early, shell-shocking the Roadrunners.
A 77-yard pitch and catch. Jalen Guyton had a touchdown last week. That's his longest reception of the season. And for Mason Fine, that's also his longest pass of the year, topping a 72-yarder. Well, here's some trouble with the snap, going all the way back to Trevor Moore, and he chucks it up, and a valiant attempt, no good. We'll stay 13-0 but North Texas has struck. They're 2 for 2, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, and the Mean Green have stormed out to a 13-0 lead here at Apogee Stadium. Now, Mason Fine has lived up to expectations so far. Entered the game leading the conference in passing touchdowns and yards per game at nearly 300. Now, so far today, 126 yards passing and that long passing touchdown. 2 plays, 82 yards. That's the San Antonio Auto and Truck Show scoring summary. 77-yard touchdown reception by Jalen Guyton, his 6th of the season. Winnigan at the goal line. He has some space up the middle and a block to Springham. At the 35, Winnigan's got some speed, and there goes Winnigan down the sideline, but he's ruled out just across midfield, trying to escape the diving kicker, and Brett Winnigan claps over in disbelief, but what speed to break that one.
I'm gonna tell you, the kicker, he did his part. He got just enough of Winnigan to make him, oh, what a crushing block before that, but check this out.
Trevor Moore. Oof.
Just got enough of him to force his angle left and just did clip the sideline, it looked like. Otherwise, that would get UTSA right back in this football game in an eyelash. And of course, this school's never had a kick return for a touchdown. That would have been the first.
Right at 100 yards, too. He fielded it right at the goal line. And there's a reason why Brett Winnigan has the longest play this year for UTSA. Just broke one loose against Texas State's 71-yard touchdown and sets him up at midfield. Hand off to Rhodes. He probes forward. And then he's knocked close to the first down marker, just shy of the 40, though. Now, the first quarter of tonight's CSN football telecast is brought to you by North Star Dodge. Open Sunday. It's your savings destination.
You know, Mike, we're early in this football game, but this already feels like a big drive, doesn't it, for UTSA? I mean, North Texas has come out and delivered a couple of haymakers to start this football game, and the offense has got to pick up the defense right here.
Fake the handoff, fake the pitch. Sturm throws to a wide open Tyrell Clay, and he is loose into the end zone. How
about that wrinkle from UTSA? mercy. All kinds of window dressing up at the top here. And North Texas doesn't know where UTSA is going to go, and somebody obviously busted and left Clay wide open, but they did a couple of misdirection things in the backfield. North Texas is all tied up. Terrell Clay on the wheel, and UTSA answers one play later.
And Tyrell Clay's first receiving touchdown of the season, and it comes on a quick hitter, 2 plays, 49 yards. Capped off by that 41-yard reception. Hey, you thought something might have been up when they had both running backs in. Clay and Rose were staggered there in the backfield. And as you said, some window dressing, and they slipped him out. And North Texas was certainly caught off guard.
You know, I kind of thought this was going to happen today. We were talking about these two teams and how many explosive players they have on offense. I mean, this had all the makings of a shootout because, yeah, we could talk about how great UTSA's defense has been, and they have been for the most part, but when you're facing a team as talented as North Texas is and a team that's averaging almost 40 points per game, you knew they were going to have their hands full. And, you know, of course, there's still plenty of time for them to settle in and try to figure out what they're going to do to try to stop Guyton in particular, but that was an almost, you know, one of those situations where UTSA almost had to score in order to stay in this football game and kind of at least show North Texas they're going to be here.
Yeah, after the
all
3
day
and out,
long.
yeah, to start the game. And almost prophetic words, too, from defensive coordinator for North Texas, Troy Reffett. Get to that in a second after this kickoff. Deep one, though, and Guyton just watched it go, or Darden rather, watched it go out. But Troy Reffett, their defensive coordinator, he told us, you know, they need to be more disciplined in pass coverage. And I think this was pretty telling, Chuck. He says, there are too many guys looking at the quarterback, and the quarterback will lie to you every time. Well, looks like that's what happened right there after a couple of fakes by Dalton Sturm.
And that's kind of what UTSA's defense is having to face in this football game as well. I mean, we talked to Coach Wilson this week, and he said he counted up 10 explosive plays against his team in the Southern Miss game. So, you know, he's not too thrilled with how this game has started, especially with that touchdown pass of over 70 yards for North Texas on their second drive.
Here's our scoring summary. It was a quick one, 54 seconds set up by the Winnigan kickoff return, and then the big hitter to Tyrell Clay for 41 yards. Fine hands off to Wilson, and he's got space around the left side before being wrapped up by Tauefa. Gain of 4 on the rush.
And Wilson's off to a good start, too, in terms of yards per carry. So UTSA's got a lot on its plate today, and they knew that coming in, obviously, with what North Texas has showed everybody on tape to start this season.
Very impressive offense. They're averaging nearly 39 points per game. That also leads the conference. Wilson again takes it up the middle, going to drive the pile forward. And he's stood up by a host of defenders. King Newton and Marcus Davenport got in on the tackle.
And UTSA already making some changes on defense. Andrew Martell's now in at safety, so you know, you could kind of see some things working here in the early going. I think North Texas thought that they saw some things on tape that they could take some punches on or take some shots on defensively and schematically, and now UTSA is trying to counterpunch to try to cover up some of these holes that North Texas has found early.
Another third down for the Mean Green. Toss over the middle to Guyton, and he dives forward for the first. Wrapped up by Javontavius Mosley. But the third down conversions continue for North Texas, and they just can't get off the field in a good way.
Yeah, and that's key in every game. I mean, if you're good on third down, you're probably going to be good on the scoreboard as well, and sometimes it's just bad luck. I mean, C.J. Levine fell down, but Guyton got a little chip right there and ended up getting the ball, so good for him. Nice, smart veteran move.
How about this? 6 for 6 on third down conversions tonight for North Texas. Fine's got all day. Gonna throw it long down the right side. It's hauled in for the catch at the 35-yard line.
Boy, we talked about Mason Fine and his ability to be accurate with a football. He dropped an absolute dime on this particular pass. Defender's not even turned around, and the running back, all he's got to do is put his hands out.
That's Nick Smith,
yeah, and that's
a redshirt freshman coming out of the backfield.
That's room service is what that is.
Jeffrey Wilson back in. North Texas once again across midfield. Fine getting pressured, and Marcus Davenport rips him down for a sack. And it looks like Fine a little slow to get up, and his helmet comes off, so he has to come out for a play after the 3rd sack of the season by Marcus Davenport.
Well, Marcus Davenport just getting singled up here on the right side of your screen, just speed rushes his guy, and I feel for anybody that's got to try to block this guy one-on-one. He's an absolute beast, and you're seeing it on display here again this afternoon.
9-yard loss. 2nd and 19. Hand off to Wilson, breaking free and has space down the left side. Wilson in a foot race, and he's wrapped up and tackled out of bounds by Carl Austin to save a touchdown. But Jeffrey Wilson had eyes on his 10th rushing touchdown of the season, breaking loose.
So many times when you see this play called, when it's a blitz and it's a draw or delay, you can get a big hit like that. And North Texas did just that. That right play at the right time. And UTSA fortunate that wasn't another touchdown.
35-yard rush for Jeffrey Wilson. North Texas trying to keep piling on the points. They've scored touchdowns in their first 2 drives of the game. Nick Smith plows forward. And Tawaefa was in there to lead the charge along with Kevin Strong Jr.
So UTSA rolling the bones early to try to stop some of these explosive plays, and they get the sack on the previous play, and they rolled the bones again, sent the house, and just could not find enough guys to plug holes, and North Texas knocking on the door again. 3rd straight drive. Very impressive on offense so far to start this football game, to say the least.
And they are coming off a bye week, so they had a couple of days extra to maybe scheme and draw some things up against this UTSA defense. Fine to the end zone, knocked away. There's good coverage by C.J. Levine and Tawaefa.
Go to that slant, and that's been one of the plays that they've had a hard time connecting on here on the early going, but little else. Mason Fine has been really good, especially throwing the ball down the field. Again, he's one of those guys, he's not going to wow you. He wasn't over-recruited because he's under 6 feet, but I'm telling you, we saw this guy last year. He looked like he was growing up before our very eyes. Now you get the guy a year under his belt, he's even more impressive.
Fine, taken off. In trouble and knocked away at the last moment. A little hesitation there by Mason Fine, and Marcus Davenport was bearing down quickly to force the first 4th down of the game for the Mean Green.
Yeah, and Marcus Davenport, can't say enough about the hustle of that young man on that particular play. I mean, he came all the way across from the other side of the field. As you see, he's getting doubled and able to beat the double. Make Fine get rid of it and throw it incomplete, so at least UTSA is able to stop this and hold it to a field goal attempt.
Quinn Shanbor's the holder. There's an issue on the snap on the extra point. That's why it's only 13. Trevor Moore, one of the best kickers in the conference. And he puts this one up, and it's right through. North Texas, 3 drives and 3 scores. They extend the lead once again, 16-7 right now. But I think for UTSA, a big minor win there, and you can build on that going forward to get North Texas off the field and hold to a field goal.
The one thing you'd have to say about UTSA is they're making Fine work for everything that he's gotten for the most part. I mean, we talked about this guy and his ability to complete passes and, to clip it like 62 or 63%. That's pretty darn good. And, right now he's only completing half of his passes, but again, you just can't say enough for what these guys are able to do and how they're able to keep the sticks moving with how great they've been on 3rd down. And Guyton is already off to a huge day. I mean, well over 100 yards receiving already on just 4 catches. But if you take a look at our Mattress Furniture for Less, score more for less. If the runners score more than 30 points, everybody's going to receive a 15% discount Sunday and Monday at all 3 San Antonio locations of Mattress and Furniture for Less. But yeah, quite the hot start for North Texas. And I mean, I don't think we're too surprised considering their resume to this point in the season, but UTSA is going to have to find a way to stiffen up here a little bit.
Well, that took an interesting bounce and was whistled dead as it hit the end zone. So back to the 20-yard line for UTSA. 25-yard line. And you know what? UTSA's offense was pretty productive on its last drive.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they would have been too on that first drive, but you know, you get some penalties, and it's tough to move the sticks at any level when you're fighting down and distance every time because of a penalty here or a penalty there. So they got to clean some stuff up, obviously, and the way North Texas is moving the football, you're going to have to be pretty perfect on offense to stay in this football game.
And there's another big march by the Mean Green, going nearly 70 yards, 10 plays, 69 yards, capped off by the 23-yard field goal. Sturm gives an end around to Greg Campbell Jr., and he's ripped out of bounds on the North Texas sideline.
You know, Greg Campbell's one of those guys I think that caught us all by surprise this year. He kind of plugged in some holes last year, but he's really emerged as one of Dalton Sturm's favorite targets this year. And they're getting a chance to talk to Coach Wilson this week. He really felt like Greg was one of those young men that, you know, maybe wasn't real thrilled about the coaching change when it happened. And so he wasn't putting all his effort into what needed to be done, but he's gotten with the program, and they really like the results.
Sturm airing it out. There he goes, right back to him on cue. Greg Campbell Jr. He had a career high last game, 10 receptions, 108 yards. And it really helped out because Kerry Thomas Jr. kind of limped off early in that game against Southern Miss, and he tried to come back and then wasn't really in the game in the second half. But Greg Campbell Jr. charging. Well, we're through one, 16-7, Mean Green. Second quarter action after this. What do you count? UTSA has the ball to start the second quarter. Starting to move it, trying to get across midfield. Maybe it's just that end zone, going towards the open end zone here at Apogee Stadium. North Texas scored 3 times in the first quarter. 2 touchdowns on their first 2 drives, and then a field goal. And how about these offenses? Chuck, we kind of knew it would be a lot of offense. North Texas averaging 11 yards per play. UTSA averaging nearly 9 yards per play.
That's insane halfway through the year.
There's Rhodes stepping forward and then tied up, and he'll be thrown back by the linebacking core of North Texas. Well, we were talking a little bit about the wide receivers. Let's go down to the sideline. Gary Streisky has more on these UTSA wide receivers.
Yeah, Mike, everybody knows you haven't made it unless you finally get a moniker or a nickname. The UTSA receiving group, they have both of it. How does this sound? Afros, America's finest receivers on Saturday. Last week they backed it up, had a handful of guys over the century mark in yardage. They're trying to do that again tonight, guys.
Yeah, I love a good nickname. I wish I could think of something good like that.
I did too. What I liked was Brady Jones saying, hey, can I get in that group too? And they said, yeah, man, it's all inclusive.
These receivers have been solid for UTSA. Helped Dalton Sturm to 367 yards passing last week. There's a helmet getting twisted off at the last moment. Jalen Rhodes may have to come out, but the flag is out on the field as well, and that may have something to do with that run. Although Rhodes is trying to work his way through the defense and off to the sidelines.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it is getting mighty chippy down there between UTSA's offensive line and UNT's defense.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 50. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
And that would be why his helmet came off.
All I know is I'm always watching 68 for UTSA, Austin Pratt, and he got some nasty on the play previous. UNT's going to get some nasty right back.
Well, that's Ladarius Hamilton, and if you want to talk about good nicknames, he's nicknamed Hambone. I like that one.
I don't know, man. That dude's got some pipes, and then you see 68. That guy plays with a motor and a fierceness that is absolutely contagious for this UTSA football team.
Now the Roadrunners now into North Texas territory. Couple of fakes again. Sturm under pressure and flings it away. Almost intercepted, though, by Kyrie Muhammad as Sturm tried to find some time, and now he's up and limping a little bit.
Now that was the same look that they gave, or a similar look on the touchdown. And this time, North Texas having none of it. They had a lot of guys in the backfield, and Dalton doing a really nice job just getting that ball away because all of his receivers were covered up nicely by the UNT DBs.
Tyrell Clay still stays in at running back. He was the guy that snuck out of the backfield and had the big touchdown for 41 yards for the Roadrunners score.
Here they come.
Sturm to the outside. Brady Jones dives forward, and he's hit hard on the far sideline.
And Marquez McNair doing a nice job getting out there and throwing a nice little block for him. But really interesting as always, you know, Dalton, that pressure was coming from his left side right in his face. Just threw right into the blitz, which is what you got to do a lot of times. You can pick up a big play.
Keemon Hall on the tackle after a gain of 5.
Yeah, this Muhammad is something special, number 4, I'm telling you, for North Texas. Big-time player.
UTSA, 47% this year on third downs. One of the better marks in the country, but 0 for 1 tonight. Sturm steps up, tries to escape, and he's spun down and won't get the first. Tried to step forward and find the open area down the left, but tackled right at the line of scrimmage by Brandon Garner, the redshirt junior linebacker.
Yeah, the young man from Mansfield doing a really nice job. For those viewers that don't get a chance to see UTSA very often, Dalton Sturm, as good an athlete as you can have at quarterback, is usually great making people miss, but 37 having none of it and forcing UTSA into a field goal attempt.
Jared Sackett is a walk-on. He's a freshman from Fort Worth, and he's also 7 for 7 this year on field goals. There's a big boot into this one, and it is up, and it's good. Well, that continues to be a nice weapon for UTSA. Sackett had a career long of 44 against Southern Miss, and he knocks that one through to make it a 16-10 game. UTSA charging back here in the second. Mean Green lead by 6. Early in the second, offense is showing out, as we kind of figured in this game, between the two best offenses in the conference. And UTSA strikes first in the second quarter, 8 plays, 50 yards. Jarrett Sackett, 42-yard field goal. What a nice addition to UTSA's special teams. And both these coaches really stressed, all 3 phases of the game. They don't feel like their team has put together a full game in all 3 aspects yet, all 4 quarters. So that's something I'm sure they'll be focusing on as this one progresses. Now, the second quarter of CSN football is presented by the San Antonio Express News, bringing you the real facts since 1865.
Yeah, we've had a good one with some fireworks here early on.
Well, literal fireworks, too.
Yeah.
North Texas shoots them off.
Boy, they really do a nice job here putting on a show. Apogee Stadium, this is my first trip here. Nice place to watch a football game. Beautiful.
Built in 2011, got that distinctive wing in the left end zone. That's where North Texas is moving towards. And it's a nice track up here. Mason Fine certainly seems to like it. Gives the handoff to Wilson. He charges down where he's wrapped up by LaCale Bass and Balin Baker.
UTSA committing more guys to the run right there on first down. It's going to be one of those pick your poison, but you've got to do something. You got to either stop the run or stop the pass, but you got to do something because it has been a track meet for North Texas to start this football game. 3 for 3 scoring on their 3 drives. You just wonder if that extra point's going to come back at some point and haunt them.
Yeah, 6-point lead certainly feels a lot different than 7. Fine tosses it over to Lawrence, and he's able to rip it down right at the first down marker.
A really nice job that time. Lawrence getting his hands up and snagging that one out of midair. After running his route as quickly as he did, that's not often easy to do, but especially when you know you're usually going to take a lick. But he found the soft spot, made a really nice play finishing off that pass play.
Yeah, Graham Harrell, our offensive coordinator, said his nickname is the Standard because of his precise routes. And that Michael Lawrence is one of these young receivers who's really learned to assert himself and become more confident in his abilities this year. Here's a pitch on the end around, and there is Jalen Guyton once again, taken out to his own sideline. Another first down scamper.
Yeah, no worse for wear on the sideline as he takes out a few guys. They all pop up, all excited, and here they are in the jet sweep and getting some guys out there in front, blocking for him, and this young man's got speed to burn. We're seeing that on display here early in this football game, and you can understand why they seek him out so frequently on offense.
It's an 18-yard reception. So Guyton's now up to 134 yards receiving, and we've only played about 20 minutes.
And give him another 9 on the ground, and there's another home run ball.
Darden just over his outstretched leaping arms, but Fine went long once again.
Boy, they are really finding some matchups to their liking here early in this football game. They're getting some guys that they feel like are just flat faster than some of the UTSA guys, and you talk about, really for most programs, the most unsuccessful plays are the home run plays, but tell you what, they were just an eyelash away from hitting another one.
And Darden's only a freshman at Eisenhower High School in Houston. This is going to be a quarter watch. There's some trouble for Mason Fine, and he wisely dives on it. Then he's tapped down by Kevin Strong Jr. But we've seen now 2 missed snaps by North Texas, and that one's going to cost them the first third down conversion that really pushes them back. And now is going to make it very, very difficult here. They have converted all but 1 third down.
Yeah.
This is going to be a challenge. They have to get to the 36-yard line of UTSA territory.
It's just one of those things, too. You're rolling, your offense is doing everything right, and then, you have one miscue like that. It's a huge rally killer. Or at least on paper it is. We'll see.
Here comes pressure. Quick toss over the middle. And a dive forward attempt by Lawrence, but he has stood up, and every white jersey made sure that Michael Lawrence wasn't getting any further.
Yeah, they brought Tao F on a twist that time to try to make him get the ball out quickly, and then had the second line of defense right there to make the stop. So UTSA at least is able to get off the field for the first time on defense, but you know, if nothing else for UNT, you're hoping you can pin them back and make them have to go the entire length of the field to score if they want to.
And here's Alvin Kenworthy for the first time tonight. Boots one high and short. Brady Jones is there. Makes a fair catch, and UTSA pushed back a little bit, but that defense comes up with his first stop of the game, and there's the first punt for North Texas. Now UTSA has scored on their last 2 drives. We'll see what the Roadrunners do when they have the ball next. After an opening 3 and out, UTSA has been able to march down the field and make this a little nerve-wracking for North Texas. Now these two teams have a very young series. That's the Roadrunners, who own the all-time advantage. They lead this series 3-1. Their only loss was here 2 years ago to a then winless North Texas team. That Mean Green team would finish 1-11 on the season. Pitch to Clay, charging and stood up, and then driven back by Laiasia Taurelo. Well, right now, let's check down on the sidelines once again with Gary Streisky.
Guys, I thought it was telling earlier in the week when we had our conference call with head coach Seth Luttrell, and we asked him, what does this game mean? Is it the biggest game? And we've all heard the general coach talk, the copy-paste, hey, it's the next one up, that's the most important. But we had a pretty tellingly candid moment with Coach Seth Luttrell saying, yeah, this actually is the most important game. It's probably the toughest competition we've seen thus far, and that will probably see the rest of this regular season. Pretty telling. Clearly, they're playing like it tonight.
Yeah, Gary, I thought what was interesting, too, is that last week, head coach Frank Wilson from UTSA said Southern Miss was going to be the best team that they had faced to that point, and that includes Baylor, and North Texas beat Southern Miss like a drum. So these are two teams that really respect each other and are both on the way up.
Sturm had to run back to his own goal line, chucks it out to someone, just trying to get a prayer in. You know what? He does. The flag comes flying. Dalton Sturm got knocked down all the way back in his own end zone, and he chucked that one up to any white jersey.
Pass interference. Defense, number 27. The ball be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Well, I thought was interesting there, as much duress as Dalton Sturm was under on this play, pretty good pass. Squares his shoulders, and as you can see, the defender's there a little too soon.
Yeah, that was right on line, though. You're right, running away from the pressure, and takes the big hit at the end by Joshua Wheeler. Sturm has time, throws the far sideline. Brady Jones leaps and pulls it down for the first down. Wrapped up on the play by Keemon Hall.
Yeah, I really like what UTSA is doing there. Frank Selfo mixing it up. North Texas, on the first play to start this drive, just did a jailbreak with trying to stop the run, and they really snuffed it out because, Jalen Rhodes had a pretty good afternoon to this point, averaging 7+ yards per carry. So this time on first down, he decides he's going to throw, and UTSA is moving the sticks again.
Hand off to Clay, stutter steps, driving forward, and still charging the pile. Well, coming up at halftime, Gary Streisky will host, and a little bit more on Gary as he joins our broadcast tonight. One of the co-hosts of the Morning Dose on CW33 Dallas, and Gary's background includes being an anchor reporter in Houston and with Nesson. He was also once the sideline reporter for the Boston Red Sox. You can watch the Morning Dose on CW33 Dallas from 5 to 8 a.m. Welcome aboard, Gary. Certainly not something Chuck or I could do. 5 to 8 a.m.
Or work at Ness and do the Red Sox either.
Tyrell Clay pushes forward and gets close to midfield.
Guys, just a little bit less sweating, a little less hitting during Morning Dose compared to what we're seeing on the field tonight. Otherwise, pretty much just the same thing.
I still don't know how he wakes up that early, but kudos to you.
Honestly, neither do I.
Hey, as long as those paychecks don't bounce, bro.
Or how he's still awake then. If he's waking up at, 3? Getting there at 5 in the morning?
No, people actually think that he shows up 5 minutes before he does his thing. Let's not ruin the myth.
Sturm hit hard by Hamilton, chucks it up to Stewart, who comes down with the catch. Josh Stewart just going up and high pointing that football. We saw that last week against Southern Miss, and look at the leaping ability of the 6'4 senior.
Teams make adjustments in season, in games, and sometimes in plays. Dalton Sturm recognized that Josh Stewart was wide open on a home run ball, just couldn't get it out quite quick enough, and then Josh on the back end of this picked up the ball and like a good center fielder came charging back towards it, and wow, what a great play on the back end. Actually, all the way around, Dalton getting rid of the ball as well.
And off to Rhodes, spinning, but nothing there. Keemon Hall again coming up from his cornerback position.
You need plays like that, Don't go exactly like you design it or like you draw it up, but good improvisational skills by both quarterback and receiver on that one. And Josh Stewart's been such a big part of this offense for 2 years running now. A play like that will get the whole team sparked.
Had a huge game last week, 5 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown against Southern Miss. Nothing there in the pile. Driving back on the short carry, Ladarius Hamilton got in there along with a couple of other mean green.
That's the one thing like we saw last week against Southern Miss. Southern Miss did a great job taking away UTSA's ability to run the football. But UTSA stepped it up, chucking and ducking it down the field, and a lot of different guys stepping up in order to get UTSA just a 2-point conversion from sending that thing to overtime.
Well, the Roadrunners are 0 for 2 on third down conversions, and this stadium's getting loud. Sturm, designed run to the first down marker and more, and Dalton Sturm charges forward into the red zone.
Player making a play right there. Dalton Sturm, the former walk-on, is tough as nails. It's been a little bit different for UTSA running this offense this year. Not a lot of run design plays for him because they want to keep him upright. He's clearly, one of the more talented quarterbacks that Conference USA has, and so they don't want to get the guy hurt. And he's done such a great job this year recognizing when to run and when to throw. But eyes are always downfield. Coaches talked about and marveled at how he got in and really hammered the books this year. And, his study and his knowledge of what's going on here has really increased from last year to this.
Clay charges forward. Got an ankle tackle, and he gets close to the 5-yard line.
And Clay was really nice last week, too. As tough a sledding it was for UTSA running the football a week ago, Clay came in and gave him some pop and had a couple of really nice runs to loosen up Southern Miss just a smidge in that football game.
Well, that's something that, again, Troy Reffitt, the Mean Green defensive coordinator, said UTSA is unflinching in what they want to do. They want to line up, run the football, and they will commit to that. And that's what makes them kind of dangerous at times, because they will just hammer it and hammer it home. There's Clay again. He has nowhere to go. Keshawn McLean, we talked about him early on in the broadcast, one of their best safeties, came charging forward for the stop.
Yeah, Keyshawn McLean, just by experience and productivity, is one of this team's leaders. He's paid his dues. Tremendous worker, big playmaker as you watch him shoot the gap. Led the team in tackles last year. Not getting quite the action that he saw last year because teams are scheming to go away from him. But the young man has a nose for a football, and you can only scheme so long. I mean, he's going to make some plays and beat you at some point. Just a terrific player.
Loss of one on the play, and now another third down. UTSA needs the 2. Sturm has to escape to the right side, charging forward, big hit, and Sturm lost the football. Scary, scary play right there. Dalton Sturm took a shot. The ball and his helmet came off. And there's a scrum at the goal line. And it's a touchdown.
Now let's see if Dalton gets up. He got his bell rung.
So my apologies, his helmet stayed on. Looked like his head kind of flung back, but he took a big shot. And the ball came loose.
Oh, mercy. It's helmet to helmet action, and it didn't look like it was any intentional, just guys playing football, but I don't know. Hard to measure intent. But Dalton just manning up, sniffing the goal line, trying to get his team the lead, and boy, does he take a nasty shot.
That's D. Balkman. Yeah, his head twisted around, and the helmet did actually come loose, didn't come all the way off, and that ball went right into the end zone. And that's what you always fear, as you mentioned with Dalton Sturm. He's such a good runner, but he is irreplaceable to this UTSA offense. And to see your quarterback take a big shot like that, you got to be hold your breath inducing.
Oh, man, that is hard to watch. But previous to the touchdown, kudos to the way UTSA was managing the clock. Did you notice they were snapping the ball with 1 second left? Looked like he got in there, but I don't know if they're checking this out to see if it was targeting or this game, Mike, we talk about this every week, and yeah, it does look like he might have fumbled it too.
But here's the issue, is that the referees then came up and signaled touchdown. So I'm not sure what you overturn, because even if it's a fumble, they still motioned that UTSA got the ball. So they'd have to keep looking and see if there was a clear recovery by North Texas.
Well, it's hard to say. They might be looking at a bunch of different things, but going back to what I was going to say about, we see it week in and week out. This game is getting harder and harder to officiate because, we're all concerned, and rightfully so, about player safety. And, but it's still a contact sport. Guys are still trying to get other guys to the ground, and when you're talking about the size and the athletic ability and the speed of all of these players, even offensive linemen can run now. And just, the inertia that's created, play to play, snap to snap, it's unbelievable. And, you see a quarterback take a shot like that, but, guys are rushing full speed to go to the football. And then, Dalton's being contorted here by 49, so he's on his way down. And even if you don't mean to hit the guy's head, you got two guys running into each other.
Yeah, D. Balkman's going for the chest or to knock that ball loose. And then, Sturm's head gets brought down. And then it unfortunately head-to-head. You said it. Players are bigger, faster, and stronger from how this game was probably initially designed way back in its infancy. Makes it hard to referee as well. So something like that, too, where there's so much contention around what's a targeting call. Is that an intentional hit? Not necessarily that play, but is a defenseless receiver defenseless? All these things, and it's so fast down there on the field.
Indeed.
This is going to be a complicated review, though, because there's a lot to check. First, you got to see if he crossed the plane. That's Sturm. Then the ball did come loose. So do you rule that D. Balkman had a clean recovery? And if he did, where is the ball placed for North Texas? Did he get out? Is he at the 1 yard line, or is he at the goal line? Because this is big. Looks like he picks it up.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And I'm sure Frank's talking things over with the official about, possibly checking for targeting. But again, I just don't know how these officials do it week in and week out. And, again, measuring intent. When is the guy trying to do it? When is he not trying to do it? It's tough, man.
Jared Sackett puts the point after through, and just like that, UTSA is in the lead. The Roadrunners trailed 13-0. They have stormed back, scoring on their last 3 drives, and it's 17-16 UTSA in the waning minutes of the second. Dalton Sturm took a couple of big shots on that last drive, but his 7-yard run to the end zone, and then a Stephon Beard fumble recovery in the end zone has UTSA on top 17-16 here with just 2 minutes left in the second.
Well, we certainly hope Dalton Sturm is okay, because UTSA really would have a tough road uphill if that young man's going to miss any of this game. And, he was down on the sideline talking to his teammates and moving his jaw around, but you can understand it, man. You got to check to see all your teeth, make sure they're there. You take a shot like that.
Jalen Darden downs it. North Texas will have the ball on its own 25-yard line. We'll see what Mason Fine can conjure up. Mean Green trail by 1. North Texas came flying out of the gates, jumping out to a 13-0 lead. Now it's the Roadrunner fans who've had something to celebrate. 17-16, UTSA on top. Fine's gonna lob it downfield, and a leaping catch out of bounds. Back to Rico Bussey will send it back to 2nd and 10. Well, coming up at halftime, Gary Streisky will bring us the Six Flags Fright Fest halftime show. It's Halloween, and no one celebrates it like Six Flags Fiesta Texas and Six Flags Over Texas during Fright Fest. If you want some Texas-sized scares, check out sixflags.com for all the details. After those long drives, North Texas has had only a field goal and then had a punt.
How about that? How many times do you see teams go into a prevent defense and a 2-minute warning and North Texas is seeing the best of UTSA. They're in press coverage. They're getting guys in the backfield, and guess who's back there once again? I think Don Harris called it last week when he said he's just unblockable. 93 is unblockable. You better be sending 2 guys and then have another chipper out there. I mean, this guy, he's putting together some kind of reel for the next level, boys. I'm telling you.
6'7", 255. I don't know how you block that.
Look at these guys.
Looked like there was movement on the line. No call. Instead, it's going to be another sack by the fired-up UTSA defense.
93 again, and we got a flag at the end of the scrum. I'm going to tell you what. Pete Golding is not holding back. UTSA's defensive coordinator, man, that is being aggressive.
And Mason Fine is hurt. We talked about the irreplaceability of Dalton Stern. Mason Fine was slow to get up, and now he is limping.
Yeah, obviously he's another guy that, you know, North Texas just can ill afford to lose. I mean, you're talking about statistically the best quarterback in the conference right now.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 71. Penalize half the distance to the goal. Result of the play brings up 4th down. Timeout, UTSA. They're first of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
That's Jordan Murray, the left tackle. There's got to be some frustration on that North Texas offensive line right now. Marcus Davenport just setting up an apartment down there in the backfield.
Well, this has been a tale of 2 quarters. I mean, North Texas comes out and just smacked UTSA in the face twice on their opening 2 drives with touchdowns. Then got a field goal on their 3rd, and then, you know, UTSA kind of chipped away, and then they've scored on 3 straight drives, and that missed extra point the difference so far. But, you know, UTSA's going down there working on their clock on the last score, and instead of just playing defense and trying to keep everything in front of you, they play defense downhill. And I don't know if North Texas was ready for that, quite frankly. Pete Golding's bunch dialed it up, brought some pressures, and now look at this. Add the penalty, and they're going to have great field position, maybe get some more points before the half.
4th and 31. Now rugby boot. Going to take a good bounce, but Brady Jones scoops it up for the 45. There he is upended by Kashawn McLean. Now let's take a look at some scores around the conference. Tonight's Conference USA scoreboard is brought to you by mysa.com. There's that Southern Miss team that both these teams played in their last 2 games. Out top on UTEP. And how about Marshall? They've stormed to the top of Conference USA's East Division, and they stay there with a 35-3 win over Old Dominion.
Yeah, we saw Old Dominion last year against UTSA, and they had a lot of talented kids on that team, and a couple of them are now in the NFL. But they lost a lot during, you know, between seasons.
FIU also at the top of the division. They will stay up towards that mark. They're leading Tulane. That's a non-conference game, but FIU and FAU have been some surprise teams in the East Division this year. Sturm going to try to lead the offense again. Tosses one out over the middle, spinning down forward into North Texas territory. And here's the hurry-up offense with 45 seconds left and counting, or 49 seconds left and counting for North Texas.
And good to see Sturm back in the ball game. The shot to the head, he just shook it off. Glad he checked out all right. I'm sure everybody else is at home as well.
Empty backfield for Sturm. Going long, right down the middle, and just over the hands of the tailback, Jalen Rhodes. That's going to be a tough mismatch for a linebacker to pick up that running back. Now let's take a look at the Conference USA standings. They're presented by mysa.com. Take a look at them in just a second after this replay. Look at that, Rhodes almost had it right around the linebacker Brandon Garner. But UTSA has pushed it again into North Texas territory. Sturm having to escape and just tosses it to no one. Darius Hamilton on the charge. All right, let's take a look at the Conference USA standings. They're presented by mysa.com, the largest voice in South Texas for 150 years. And this is what we mentioned, Chuck. So much at stake right now. North Texas 2-0, trying to lock down the conference and the division, and UTSA trying to get that first conference win.
Yeah, and I get right back into the race, and essentially if they can win today, it's going to help everybody else in this conference stay in the race. So this is a huge game for a lot of reasons for both of these
Southern
teams.
Miss would really like if
Sure.
UTSA could win. They lost to North Texas 2 weeks ago. Sturm's got time, throws to the marker, and it's hauled in. Gonna be close. Looks like a little short, though, by Brady Jones. He was knocked back immediately.
Now UTSA's front, those guys up front doing a really good job. North Texas running a bunch of stunts and twists, trying to get home. They couldn't. But North Texas is able to at least force a fourth down call right here for Frank Wilson. Are they going to go for it, or are they going to punt it away?
Now, UTSA called a timeout to talk it over. This is interesting. You're up by one. You've been very dominant in this second quarter. Do you try to put the hammer down now with a manageable 4th and 2? But there's an inverse, of course. If you turn it over, North Texas has some momentum, and you know how quick they can move the ball down the field.
Absolutely, but you know, this is what you like about the way both of these coaches coach. I mean, you never know what you're going to get because they both like to put it on their team. They're confident in what they have, and I wonder if Frank's going to really roll the bones or punt this away, but it's going to be interesting no matter what.
Hand off to Clay. He has the first, and he dives across the 30-yard line.
Now they got to hurry back to the line of scrimmage. Nice run by Clay.
Clock has started, and Sturm spikes it. Now stopped with 15 seconds left. Just one timeout remaining for UTSA. But you are in field goal range, potentially, for Jared Sackett, who's long as 44 this season.
Well, that's the one good thing about having that one timeout left. You can use the entire field. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play this, because if North Texas is just worried about the sticks here, UTSA may take a shot into the end zone because they're already in field goal range.
Sturm moves the pocket under pressure and throws back over his body where it's knocked away by Eric Jenkins.
Big time play by Eric Jenkins right there. Singled up with the receiver, doing a great job getting leverage and sticking his hand in. Just textbook. Can't defend it any better, plain and simple.
Well, another third down, but you might only have time for one play regardless with only 10 seconds left in the half.
That should be enough to run any kind of play you want here.
Yeah, one play and then call the timeout. Try to get the field goal unit on. Sturm slant to Campbell, knocked in and out once again by Jenkins. It will be a long field goal for Jared Sackett, who is 8 for 8 this year, but his long's 44. Now, he did knock through a 42-yarder earlier in the game tonight. And it will be 47 yards. Would be the longest of Sackett's career. Pushed it off to the left, no good. And that will end the first half.
Boy,
that
was
a strong one.
Yeah, Great game so far. Both these teams playing their hearts out, and one team steals all the momentum early, and then the other team gets it right back. UTSA had a chance there to make that steal of possession there with that 3 points, but hey man, the kid can't make them all, can he?
It's all right. It's still a 17-16 lead. UTSA was down 13-0. They storm back. They have the lead at halftime. And right now, let's go down to the field. Gary Streisky standing by.
Coach, obviously the offense started slow, but you were able to climb out of that 2-score deficit. How do you sustain that momentum your offense has built?
I think we had to continue to do the things that we were doing. They jumped on us initially and picked up every first down in the first drive, went down and scored. We answered it, came back and scored. They scored yet again, and then finally we settled down defensively. I like the things we're doing offensively. We're moving the ball the way we need to. We'll need to continue to protect the quarterback and continue to block up front, and I think we'll have a chance here.
Coach, Marcus Davenport, an absolute problem right now for UNT. Is he the defensive factor right now for you guys?
I think as a whole we're playing well. I think the defense is really pursuing to the football and giving them problems. So we'd like to continue to do that this second half.
Coach, thank you very much. Good luck in the second half. Mike Chuck, back to you.
All right, thanks, Gary. Coming up next, the Six Flags Fright Fest halftime show. If you want some Texas-sized scares, check out sixflags.com for all the details. UTSA leads 17-16 in a critical West Division matchup. Our halftime coverage gets started after this.
Welcome to North Texas. This is senior middle blocker Amanda Chamberlain at Main Green Volleyball. The generosity of Main Green Club members throughout the country provides North Texas athletics with annual funds designated for student-athlete scholarships, as well as a variety of personal and academic enrichment programs. Because of the scholarship support program, I'm able to compete against the best Division I level programs, while pursuing my degree in criminal justice. With annual gifts starting at $25, you can help contribute to the continued success of Main Green student-athletes life, while enjoying exclusive benefits, including game day. And to help North Texas athletics build.
Hey, welcome back to the stadium. Here is UTSA takes a late first half lead into halftime, 17-16 on the UNT Mean Green. Welcome into our Six Flags Fright Fest halftime show. For more information, just visit sixflags.com. Joined now by UNT President Neil Smotrisk. Thank you so much for being with us. I know we had a little bit of a turn of events here at the end of that first half, but just like Six Flags, we're getting quite the thrill here tonight in Denton, correct?
Well, it's an amazing game. I think what you're watching is the Conference USA West Championship game right now today.
We might actually have a nice little forecast of these two teams absolutely in a shootout. President, you've been here now at the school. You've seen a lot of change in the last 3.5 years. Namely here, let's talk about your athletics and what Coach Seth Luttrell is doing with this UNT Mean Green team, taking them from really irrelevancy to a powerhouse in Conference USA.
Well, I got to love what Seth's brought. I have a tremendous amount of confidence in him and his coaching staff. But, you know, it's all about the kids, and he motivates the kids. So what I see is a coach who won't quit on the kids and kids who won't quit on their coach, and that's made a lot of difference here. We've got people who are performing at a high level. Our offense is looking fantastic. The defense has really come around. So I feel like we're building a legacy here, and we just got to keep Coach Luttrell happy, and I think we're going to do some great things.
President, winning cures everything, and it certainly makes everybody happy. You're talking about keeping these student athletes happy and building something special here in Denton. Not only are you building that, but you're quite literally building more things here on campus. Obviously, the new stadium in 2011 and a recommitment to athletic facilities, not just football, but for everybody in the Mean Green family to take advantage of.
Well, we've decided we're not settling for second best. We want to be the best in Conference USA and whatever is beyond. We've got a tremendous athletic director. I have huge confidence in Brent Baker. He shows managerial acumen and wisdom far beyond his years. He's working really hard with our donor base right now to build an indoor practice facility. We're putting up a new track and soccer complex, and we're looking beyond to a new performance center for our athletes. So I think you're going to see some terrific changes, and all of those are going to be part of a real new look UNT that goes out and wins everything: volleyball, soccer, softball, basketball, and football.
Run the gamut on that one. And of course, I'm glad you mentioned Brent Baker. He's going to be joining us here in the second half of this halftime report. But President, I want to get you out on this. Not only are your student athletes and your coaching staff enjoying the recent success, but so are the students. We're pushing about 10,000 students here enjoying the game tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd guess we got about 22,000 students here. And what you need to know about our students is, hey, we're a Tier 1 institution that is really going places, and the students are taking pride in the academics and in the athletics. And that really helps to turn a game, and I hope they come out and shout loud for the second half.
Oh, I'm guessing those vocal cords will be warmed up as if the first half was any indication. President Neil Smotrz, thank you so much for joining us here on the Six Flags Halftime Report and having us here tonight.
Just a pleasure, and thank you.
Fantastic.
Hold it. Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green. You heard it from President Smotrz. Hey, listen, stick with us. We still have Brent Baker, athletic director, from on the other side of the break. Stick with us.
Okay. Oh, here. Here's what's coming up. Here's what they're showing.
Go ahead, don't just raise
Yeah.
your hand when you want me to talk. Like, just point at me or do whatever.
I think if you want to talk through them like you've done before, or no, you want me to jump on every play?
No, just whenever you feel like you can't film. Stephon Beard scored the touchdown?
Yeah.
So it's only like 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I just finished my first year here, starting my second. August
And now the North Texas Dance Club brought to you by Captain J.B. Person.
It's in the
Hey, welcome back into Apogee Stadium where the UTSA Roadrunners taking a 17-16 lead over the UNT Mean Green into halftime. Second half coming at you in just a couple of minutes. Before that, though, I'm joined by Vice President and Director of Athletics here at UNT, Ren Baker. Ren, thanks so much for joining us here. Quite the thrill ride presented to us by Six Flags and Fright Fest. By the way, check them out at sixflags.com. That's who's sponsoring our halftime. But quite a thrill here tonight at Apogee Stadium, what these fans came to see.
Yeah, we got off to a really hot start. Of course, stumbled a little bit there towards the end of the first half, but I really feel like here at home, it's a one-point game. We're going to come out and play strong. We've been a second-half team this year, so it's going to be a fun, exciting one here. We knew it'd be a great game, and so the second half's going to be a lot of fun.
We just talked to President Smotrisk about how UNT is really on the rise, not just the football program, not just the facilities, but really the university and its athletics, all-encompassing, and you're really the man at the helm of that, and now your second year at UNT.
Yeah, I just finished my first year. When I was looking at the university, I was amazed at the quality of the academics and the quality of the institution. And I said on my interview, I want to make sure our athletic programs reflect that. We're having a great fall. Our soccer team is 8-2-2. Our women's volleyball team is 18-2. Football's 3-2, 2-0 in Conference USA. So we've won about 83% of our games to start off here in the fall. And so I think it all builds together. Once that momentum is going, it really a high tide floats all boats. So.
Of course. What is your focus and your team's focus? Because of course here in this state, you can throw a rock in any which direction and hit a successful Division I program. What are you telling these recruits and why UNT is different for them?
Well, I think first of all, we want to become a university of choice academically and athletically here in the metro area. And we've really focused on doing two things. One is making sure we're as good as anybody in the country at building champions and preparing leaders. So nutrition, training tables, strength and conditioning, academic support, all of that, we've invested a lot of money in it. And then we want to elevate our brand and continue to get better players, expand out to Oklahoma, go down to Houston, get East Texas, San Antonio, and I think it's a good recipe for us, and we're doing a good job. We're taking huge steps forward, and our fans are supporting us, which is really good.
Ren, I want to get you out here on this. Obviously, what helps that is a successful football program. We know that sort of steers the ship. How proud are you of head coach Seth Luttrell's success? Because oftentimes you see a new coaching staff come in, and it takes a couple years for teams to hit their stride, but obviously with this team, it hasn't taken very much time at all.
Yeah, with what he inherited, I mean, we had like 60 scholarship players. It was a one-win team. Honestly, he overachieved last year, won 5 games, got into a bowl game because of our academics. Then he comes in this year. We're off to a hot start, one of the best offensive in the country. Seth's been tremendous. He's a local guy. He grew up in Oklahoma just like I did. We're going to continue to invest in the program and keep him here and build on the momentum. And he's one of the great young coaches in the country. But if anybody gets anything on their mind, we're going to do whatever we can to keep him. So it's going to be a great ride here for the Mean Green.
Ren, I knew that warning was coming. Thank you so much for joining us here on our halftime report. Vice President and Director of Athletics, Ren Baker, joining us here field level. Mike and Chuck, want to toss it back up to you guys in the booth, just minutes away from this second half kickoff.
All right, thanks, Gary. And time now for our first half highlights brought to you by Six Flags Fright Fest. Go big, go Fright Fest at sixflags.com. And Chuck, plenty of highlights to get to. I think we knew this would be an exciting game, and it certainly lived up to the hype.
Well, you can tell that there's so much at stake for both of these teams, really. I mean, we talked about at the onset, North Texas leading the conference and UTSA trying to make this a race.
Look at Mason Fine early. We knew he was going to have a big game, and through these first 3 drives, it really was all Mason Fine for North Texas.
Boy, whether it was running it or throwing it, but you know, this has been the thing that had plagued UTSA last week. 10 explosives a week ago against Southern Miss. UNT got them right there with a big one.
In the second quarter, and really it kind of started towards the end of the first quarter. How about UTSA charging back after down 13-0?
Yeah, junking it up a little bit on that play. Terrell Clay with a touchdown reception, and then Dalton Sturm's going to take off for the end zone, and boy, does he take a shot right here, and you can't say enough about guys just hustling after the play. You got a big offensive lineman making a touchdown there, so that's why you play whistle to whistle. And then UTSA trying to steal an extra possession for their team towards the end of the half. They're not playing prevent. They are coming after Mr. Fine, and 93, as good as we've seen Marcus Davenport all year. This might be his best first half of football that we've seen all year, and that's really saying something because he has been absolutely spectacular all season long.
Well, we saw how impressive the UTSA defensive line was, and as you said, it's been Marcus Davenport. It was a tale of 2 quarters. North Texas in the first, UTSA in the second, and let's right now take a look at the stats before we send it to break and wrap it up. First half stats, really, complete contrast here, but kind of evened up right now.
No, there's no question that it has. And for UTSA, you know, it's really been balanced, whether they're running it or throwing it. And then for North Texas, it's kind of their MO. You know, UTSA has loaded up, done a pretty good job taking that first initial blow from North Texas, and they've really loaded up to stop the run and try to make this team one-dimensional. And again, they're bringing some pressures when I don't think North Texas was really looking for it, especially towards the end of the first half. But again, as quick a start as North Texas did, I think they were 6 for 6, right, on third down to start this game. So they're 0 for their last 3. So UTSA has managed to weather the storm a little bit, and that's why they were able to turn the tide on the scoreboard as well.
And evenly matched up for sure. First half, we will see what the second half brings. It's halftime, UTSA 17, North Texas 16. The second half comes your way next. It's the start of the third quarter here from Apogee Stadium, and after a very strong start to the first quarter for North Texas, it's been all UTSA, and the Roadrunners have the ball to begin this third quarter. Chuck, how important of a drive is this for both teams right now in a one-point game?
Well, you know, they always say the most important drive of each game is the one that starts the second half, so, you know, I think it's big for both, but we'll see. I mean, this game, wow, Winnigan almost busted that one, but this game, you just get the feeling it seems like if whoever has the ball last might be in the best shape in this one.
Well, Gary Stricey caught up with Seth Luttrell right before halftime ended. Gary, what did he tell you?
Guys, basically the focus was on Marcus Davenport. He's obviously creating absolute havoc for the UNT offense. Head coach Seth Luttrell saying they're not going to deviate from their necessary game plan and offensive calling. However, they might actually put somebody else into maybe Chip Davenport or some other running back coming out of the backfield just to give their quarterback that extra split second before Davenport can get into the backfield.
And he's been such a force. 6 tackles, 2.5 sacks for Marcus Davenport in the first half. Toss out to Campbell Jr. following his blocking, and Greg Campbell Jr. gets knocked forward for a first down, but a flag flies behind the play. After that skirmish to try to knock the ball loose, E.J. Agio is trying to knock it free at the last moment.
My man Austin Pratt down there too.
Illegal block in the back. Number 34, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Yeah, that was close to being a lateral too.
That's junior fullback Halen Stewart.
Campbell Jr. doing a really nice job cutting that thing back inside, but clearly a block in the back there as he motored downfield.
Okay, Sean McLean kind of got twisted around because of that nice stutter by Campbell Jr., and then, yeah, Stewart just came charging right into him. Negates the good gain and pushes UTSA back to its own 22-yard line. They need the 40, but it stays first down. And off to Rhodes, and he has just stood up, but he falls forward.
He's having a nice ball game too. Kind of sneaky about it. You know, last week Southern Miss was so concerned about stopping him, and I mean, you could tell that he was absolutely their defensive game plan for the entire week. And so they made his life awful miserable a week ago, but you know, this is a guy week in and week out the coaches just rave about, you know, not only his development as a football player, but as a person and as a leader too. He leads that whole group, and he's one of the offensive leaders for sure.
Yeah, third on the program's all-time rushing list. 1,435 yards entering tonight. And tonight, Rhodes has 38 yards rushing. Sturm in trouble. Airmails it over the head of his intended receiver, Shaq Williams. And we talked about the D-line for UTSA. Well, North Texas is getting a little pressure on Dalton Sturm. He's had to scramble a few times tonight.
Yeah, and on that time they junked it up a little bit on their defensive front. You'll see they run a little twist right here, which forces Dalton to his right, and then they had a guy right there ready to make a play, so they had that well defensed.
And Joshua Wheeler and Liasi Tower Alo are in there. Another third down for UTSA. They're 2 for 6 tonight. Sturm, quick toss off to Rhodes, trying to stagger free, and he has nothing. There is Tower Alo, nicknamed Tawala Bear.
Well, Tawala Bear,
good nicknames.
You know, and he did a really good job staying at home on the play previous, and UTSA thought they'd be able to hit him with a quick screen here, and North Texas absolutely sniffed this one out all the way.
Jalen Darden back for North Texas. And here's Yanni Routsis, who actually had a couple of shank punts last week against Southern Miss. He's been solid this year, and this is a good-looking punt right now. Pushing back Darden, he'll let this one go. And a huge hop before it's finally down inside the 20-yard line. A nice flip of the field there by UTSA. And it gives North Texas a little bit of a challenge to start with. Well, tonight's third quarter of CSN football is presented by Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the steak dinner done right.
Good eatings there, and we got some good eatings here, man. I mean, what a ball game
What
we've
a
had
game,
so
exciting.
far.
Man.
That was a huge stop for UNT to start this second half. Obviously, the penalty as they so often do. I mean, they're just drive killers. They're just too hard to overcome. And when you've got to start first down and 20, man, that's awful tough to overcome.
Jeffrey Wilson has been bottled up all night, and that continues. Josiah Tauaefa led the charge along with King Newton. For this North Texas offense, they had 3 80-plus yard drives to start the game. In the second quarter, they only had 2 drives, and both resulted in punts. You have to credit Pete Golding there in the UTSA defense. Whatever adjustment they've made, it's been significant.
Well, you got to keep playing, and that's what Coach Wilson talked about, which he thought was really a plus last week.
The draw to Wilson, probing patiently, but still nothing there as UTSA wraps him up after a short game.
Yeah, UTSA's defense has really made some nice adjustments. I mean, this looked like for a while they were going to get run right off the field, after those first 3 drives, but they've really tightened it up. They're bringing some more pressure, getting some guys in the backfield, way active up on the front as you would always expect them to do, but really have tightened things up on the back end as well. And that's not easy to do when you got a guy like Jalen Guyton who's already gotten his tonight.
Yeah, Jalen Guyton has had a huge game, 134 yards receiving and a touchdown. 3rd and long, Fine scrambling, trying to escape pressure. Lofts it deep downfield. It is picked by Nate Gaines. The 2nd interception of the season for Gaines, and it's the first turnover forced by UTSA tonight.
Just a great adjustment on the football by Nate Gaines. And it just goes to show you how hard it is to make a throw across your body, especially a deep ball. The receiver was down the field. He'd gotten separation from Gaines, but Fine trying to load up. It's just so hard to throw a deep ball across your body, and Gaines making a great adjustment for the football. Leaps up, and that's his 2nd pick of the year.
And that's what UTSA talked about, putting them in obvious passing situations with that D-line, creating the pressure. That's why they like to play a lot of man-to-man, because when you have the D-line that's that explosive. A short field for the Roadrunners. But Jalen Rhodes had nothing going. Tackle for a loss by E.J. Agia.
Agia doing a really nice job around the line of scrimmage, getting down there and making a play for his squad. Going back to the previous play on the interception, Guyton was running free over here on the right side, but when you get so much pressure and you force the quarterback to go to his left like that, he wasn't even looking at that side of the field, nor could he.
Second drive of the half for UTSA. Had to punt it away to open the 3rd quarter. Here's a short pass to Marquez McNair. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and McNair dances towards the 45-yard line. It'll bring up another 3rd down for the Roadrunners.
That's what we like about Coach Wilson, too, and I think his players do, too. He says he writes his depth chart in sand. So if you play and you're going to help him win a football game, you're going to get on the field. And Marquez McNair getting some playing time in the second half of last week's game, and boy, he really helped rally the runners and had a chance to tie that game up late.
Sturm's got time, steps up. There's Campbell Jr., wide open space down the center of the field and down across the 25-yard line. And a defensive breakdown by the Mean Green.
Well, there he is again, Greg Campbell Jr., and again, just to finish his story from the first half, Coach Wilson said he was late buying in, but he had a better attitude this year, had a workman-like mentality, did the same thing in the winter and the spring and the fall camps, and progressed, and they're just really excited about what he's been able to bring to this table. I mean, they knew he could play, and, he's just really grown up as a football player and a man as well.
There's Jalen Rhodes again trying to find space on the right side. This is such a deep receiving core. That's a testament to the fact that we hadn't even really talked about Greg Campbell Jr. until last week, because you have a Josh Stewart and Kerry Thomas Jr., Marquez McNair, Shaq Williams. He had the big game against Southern. Now, there are just a lot of weapons at Dalton Sturm's disposal.
And that's what Coach Wilson talks about. We don't care how many stars you have next to your name when you get here or what you did in the past. What are you doing now? What are you doing at practice each day?
Hand off again to Rhodes, trying to find space. And he is met after a short gain.
A little everything going on this drive as UTSA's offense trying to reestablish some rhythm. You saw early on it was a little bit of a struggle with the first punt, but then it was a touchdown, field goal, touchdown, and another field goal. And, you know, a quick out to this third quarter after the penalty, but here they are on their second possession and picking up right where they left off in that second quarter.
And contrast that with North Texas, their last 3 drives, punt, and then that interception. Nothing there for Sturm, and just flings it out of harm's way.
Oh my goodness, Kerry Thomas Jr. just got mugged running down the field, and there was no call.
Dalton Sturm was unhappy at the end of that play. His jersey got twisted. He was pushed down what he thinks was late and came up looking for an explanation from the referee on the far side. But it brings out another field goal attempt for Jared Sackett.
Saw Reed Darrow there walking off too. It's good to see him back after he got nicked early on in that game last week.
Snap a bit high. It's down though by Bayless. And the kick is good from Sackett. Now, UTSA extends the lead. The interception turns into points, and again, after it was 13-0, it's now 20-16 UTSA. The Roadrunners trying to grab their first conference win. They're up by 4 on the Mean Green. UTSA out to a 4-point lead. Fell behind immediately, and keep talking about that, but it's so funny how drastically this game has shifted. North Texas just marched down the field on the first 2 drives, and since then, this UTSA defense has kind of clamped down, and they have really kept this potent offense, the conference's best offense, from getting anything done. Just a field goal after those first 2 drives, and no points for North Texas since the first quarter.
Yeah, we'll see if North Texas tries to reestablish Jalen Guyton. I mean, he's got 5 catches for 134 and a touchdown, and all that came in the first quarter, but nothing since.
Down by Darden, and North Texas will have it at the 25. Well, as we take a look at that last scoring summary, second half scoring summaries tonight are sponsored by North Star Dodge. Open Sunday, it's your savings destination. Looks like there's a flag, actually. Hang on, we'll take a look at that flag first.
Offside. Kicking team, number 23. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the touchback spot. First down.
All right, a little overeager there on the kickoff. Well, for UTSA, though, just got that last interception, and you talked about a re-kick. All right. Well, they make everyone walk all the way out there.
Hey, it's so much fun to watch. Let's do it again.
You know, you had completely taken the special teams off, and now they have to run all the way back out there and do it again.
I know, we'll see what UTSA has been really good covering kicks this year. So if they don't get it into the end zone, see what happens. North Texas could use a nice return, that's for sure. I mean, as tough as the sledding has gone, really like midway second quarter on, they could use a big play to try to turn the tide here a bit.
Yeah, well, Darden and Johnson now standing at the goal line. And there's Darden fielding and a step in front of the goal line. Stepped out of a tackle nicely, but then was knocked out of bounds, and C.J. Levine had his momentum carry him all the way into the North Texas bench. I don't think there was any ill will there. C.J. Levine and Danon Cavill made the tackle on that one. Now look at North Texas. We kind of touched on it. They were so hot to start, and then a punt in the first half, and that interception to start off the second half, the first turnover of the game for either team. And UTSA back out there, and we'll see what this conference's best defense can do. This was billed as the matchup of the best offense versus the best defense coming into this one. Wilson plows forward across the 30-yard line. Some good numbers by both of these quarterbacks. And it was Mason Fine who really came out on fire, had 70 yards on that first touchdown drive where they went 82. He has slowed down a little bit, but still 10 for 19, 197. And then Dalton Sturm, 112 yards passing, and we saw him take a tough shot. He can always tuck it and run, so just adds that versatility with his legs as well. Fine to the near sideline. That was looking for Guyton, and it got tipped at the line, and then a flag comes flying all the way from the secondary. At the end of that play, there was some pushing between wide receivers and cornerbacks.
About what you'd expect. A couple of conference throws going 10-10.
There's no foul on the play. The pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Third down.
Oh, we could have told them that. We saw it up here. They made the adjustment, though.
Speak for yourself, bro.
Another third down coming up for North Texas. That was Balin Baker. He got the hand on that one.
We talked about how deep UTSA is a wide receiver. It's the same on this defensive line. I mean, they lost Solomon Wise in camp. He was going to be one of their staples up front, and they just have not missed a beat. Next man up mentality.
North Texas 0 for its last 4 on third down. Ball is loose, picked up by Fine, and he takes it himself on a busted play. But Marcus Davenport, who initially knocked that free, tried to hustle him down, and Fine again is hurt. And it looks like Marcus Davenport is hurt as well. He's limping and he's up, but Fine took another shot, and he has come up grimacing twice tonight.
Well, he's not the biggest guy on the planet, but I'll tell you what, he's gritty, he's got a lot of guile, and man, is he tough. I mean, this is a bust. Davenport's running free.
How does no one block him?
You took the words right out of my mouth, and then Fine somehow able to elude the tackle and then turn that into a positive play. Unbelievable.
Yeah, great hustle effort by both Fine and Davenport. And Brady Jones spins around but pulls it in, and UTSA will have it at the 32-yard line. So the defense tightening up again for the Roadrunners. UTSA a 20-16 lead, and the offense comes back out onto the field after this. UTSA has controlled possession throughout the second quarter, now into the third, and looks like a good chunk of orange and blue fans made the trip up here. UTSA has been good on the road this season, 2-0 on the road, including that big win against Baylor to start the season. Tyrell Clay spinning out of a tackle and pushing forward. Look at that second effort by Clay to get towards the 45-yard line, another first down run. Really just adds a nice change of pace there to Jalen Rhodes, the two potent-headed running back attack there, Chuck.
Yeah, there's no question about it, and it seems like every time Clay touches the football, something good happens. I mean, he attacks the line and then was able to slide down the line a little bit and then push forward. Really good showing of the functional speed there, and yeah, he's really been something else. I mean, really catching our eye really week in and week out with this team.
20-16 UTSA. Tonight's second half scoreboard sponsored by Homevestors. Need to sell your home quickly, call Homevestors, as Dalton Sturm is wrapped up and has nowhere to go. Big tackle for loss by Joshua Wheeler. That's his third sack of the season.
Yeah, Josh Wheeler getting back there, and he had some help. UTSA trying to run a little play action, and Josh Stewart was actually downfield with some inside leverage, but there was just no time for Dalton to turn and wheel and throw. He was able to turn and wheel, but that was about it. Josh Wheeler from Grand Prairie making a nice play there, but again, there was pressure coming from a lot of different angles on that one.
A long second down here for Sturm. Looked like he had faked out the North Texas defense, but Kashawn McClain able to recognize and tackle him after the short gain. A big third and long coming up.
Yeah, really good job over there on that left side. Guys staying at home. You know, you look like you're going to run it to the left, and then Dalton decides to keep it. Tell you what, he's got to learn to get down a little quicker. He's already taken a couple of wicked shots in this ball game. UTSA needs to keep this young man upright.
Well, all second half replays are presented by Thomas J. Henry. When you or your family need help, call Thomas J. Henry 24/7, nights and weekends, 210-656-1000. UTSA needs the 48 of North Texas. Sturm fires over the middle, and it's hauled in for the catch by Josh Stewart. Can he make some tremendous plays or what?
Yeah, and how about the throw by Dalton Sturm? He's got a guy coming free. North Texas bringing some heat. And all Dalton does is stand in there and take it like a big boy. Watch this. Zip throw, gets smashed, and then on the back end, unbelievable hands.
And he took a big hit, too.
By Josh Stewart, and then, tell you what, man, that's a man-sized quarterback right there.
But ruled just a yard short, and the offense is still on the field. Stern giving him the hard count, and now he'll call timeout. Well, UTSA did convert a fourth down earlier in the game, but they fire off a timeout. It looks like a small victory there for North Texas. They're fired up going towards the sideline. So as UTSA hits its first time out of the half, we'll see what the Roadrunners do out of the break. They're hanging on to a 4-point lead here in the third.
This side door,
A pair of second-year head coaches, Frank Wilson and Seth Luttrell, and they've done some remarkable things with their first year and now second season. Look at North Texas kind of scuffling. We talk about how they dominated. Chuck, 4 drives now, only 13 yards off of those last 4 possessions.
Conventional wisdom says you punt it. UTSA, they don't want any part of that, and they pick up the first down.
Tyrell Clay still going. Power football across the 40 and inside the 40-yard line. Needed 1, got almost 10.
You know, that's just extreme faith, obviously, and the guys that you got out on the football field there. I mean, the way your defense is playing, I mean, we just showed the graphic. You've held them to 13 yards in their last few drives and, you know, pin them down, see if you can get another stop, and then go get your score. But Frank Wilson and company deciding, you know what, we're going to come out here. We feel like things are going our way. And, you know, again, we've talked about the makeshift offensive line with next man up, and they lose a couple guys. And, you know, to have that much confidence in that group up front, man, that says a lot.
Hand off to Rhodes, and he powers forward. He's hit at the 36-yard line by Colton McDonald. A senior out of Hazlet, Texas, spent 3 years at West Texas A&M.
I mean, you really send a message to the other side that you can't stop us. I mean, again, you get that ball, and let's say, you know, runner stumbles, there's something that happens, you don't pick up the sticks. I mean, all of a sudden, North Texas has got the ball on your side of the field, but I guess they feel like, hey, the way our defense is playing, we don't care where we're going to set them up. So, bully for them. It sure is fun to watch.
Sturm's got time, throws to the flat, and underneath the diving attempt of Kerry Thomas Jr. But look at the time of possession, too. I think that's another point. You're just wearing down a defense. And before that last play, a bunch of the Mean Green had kind of their hands on hips, thinking, all right, how do we get a stop here?
Right, and, you know, UTSA now up over 25 carries in this football game and 120 yards rushing, and it's like body blows. You keep running it, getting those guys up front that are delivering these blows. You know, you can run the ball in the second half with the lead. I think you're going to like the outcome more times than not.
Another big third down. Sturm steps up and fires over the head of his intended receiver. It looked like Greg Campbell Jr., but there was some miscommunication. And Dalton Sturm again took a big hit.
Man, I'll tell you what, he is bruised and tattooed in this one. North Texas again, they're just smashing guys left and right.
Joshua Wheeler might have thrown something extra behind that one. And the offense stays on the field with 4th and a long 8.
Well,
and Josh Dunlap dropped early.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of confusion between snapper and the rest of the offensive line.
Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
They were thinking now you got a punt, right?
Well, they haven't really gone to conventional wisdom so far, at least what you thought earlier, but, well, punt team coming on, I'd say yes. Couple of punts already today for Yanni Routsis. And no one is back for North Texas, so they don't think this might be up to snuff here. Routsis holds for a while, but he does boot it away. And I guess you don't need anyone back when it goes right into the end zone.
Yeah, that's right. That's a big plus for UNT there. I mean, they'll take that every time.
Well, North Texas at halftime had a very special ceremony. They honored legendary head coach and college football Hall of Famer Hayden Fry. He coached here from 1973 to 1978. A 40-game winner for the Mean Green. And before he went on to Iowa, that's where he made his mark, here at North Texas. One of the best coaches of all time at both North Texas and Iowa. And a member of the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, tremendous coach. And it brings me back to my youth watching those Iowa teams that he had as well, watching them on TV seemingly every week because he had good squads there too. But, you know, obviously a winner every step of the level, and speaks to the guy getting to a College Hall of Fame, obviously.
Mason Fine again running for his life and has to chuck it 3 rows over his bench to get out of pressure. And look at some of the people who have played here. You notice that number 75 chucked down there on the underneath the scoreboard, Apogee Stadium. You look down there, you recognize that name? Joe Green? Yeah. Well, they've had some players who have come through here.
You remember him as a player, and remember the wildly famous Coke commercial that he did with a kid where he threw the kid the jersey. It was epic advertisement back in the day.
There was some question about how North Texas got the nickname. People thought it was because of Mean Joe Green. It's kind of been synonymous with both of them. You know, Mean Joe Green played here. He was Mean Joe Green, and North Texas has adopted it and really gone to that as their primary nickname over the past few years. They're kind of one and the same here.
Yep, the old stalwart on the steel curtain defenses of the 70s. You know, obviously a team that dominated the decade there in Pittsburgh.
Well, North Texas needs a first down desperately. Fine moves the pocket, throws to the flat, and it's caught by Michael Lawrence. Diving into his bench, and he moves the sticks. That's a huge conversion there. Our North Texas team that had been scuffling on offense.
Well, you called it. I mean, UTSA has done such a good job getting pressure. North Texas decided they were going to move the pocket and give their quarterback a chance to make a play by extending it, and just a really good job throwing accurately on the run, and couldn't have happened at a better time for North Texas as things have not gone their way here the last 3 or 4 drives.
As we mentioned earlier, on those last 4 drives, only 13 total yards. And now they've moved out to the 30-yard line. There's Jalen Guyton, and he can't get on track, and he is tied up at the line of scrimmage.
There's our man, Lakel Bass. Another great success story here at UTSA, and what a career he's had, and really turned it up this year. Former walk-on, and just, you know, everything you want in a football player, and just a great example for everybody that plays football here, that you can kind of work your way into this thing by just hard work, and you got to be talented too, obviously, but man, he's just a player that week in and week out, we call his number 3 or 4 times.
Darden shakes off some tackles, and then he is knocked down by Balin Baker. You remember what Pete Golding called Lakel Bass? Called him Heady Eddie. Just said he's a football player. Such a tremendous football IQ, and loves the game more than a lot of people he's ever talked to.
Just really good backside pursuit there by UTSA.
North Texas has it, but they'll have another big 3rd down coming up. We have played 3 quarters, and UTSA leads 20-16. Back with the 4th after this. Well, hello, a lot of waving there as we welcome you to the fourth quarter. North Texas fans are excited. Their team's got a pretty big third down conversion coming up. They need the 40-yard line. 3rd and 7 here for the Mean Green. After all that talk about the offense, only 82 total yards between both teams in the third quarter. Fine stands tall in the pocket and throws for the first down. And that's a big one. And who else? Jalen Guyton, back to saying his name a lot more.
Great route, great throw, but you cannot say enough about the guys up front for North Texas, giving them a great throwing lane. UTSA looked like they were going to get a good push there, but the pocket held up perfectly.
And they brought the pressure.
And Guyton is a tough guy to stop on a slant, and they're moving the sticks.
Looked like TJ Henson really helped out. As Jalen darted and got ripped down from behind. He's able to fall forward. And Eric Banks had an arm on his jersey to tackle him.
Banks is another one that's had a great year for UTSA along that front four that they've got. Man, it's just, there's so many of these guys. Their front four is amazing. They rotate guys in and out. Those guys all do the job. Their linebacking core has been off the charts. They've really tightened this thing up. Both defenses have, actually.
And off to Wilson. He's getting some space and takes a big hit and delivers one of his own as he goes out of bounds into the UTSA sideline. That's not a guy who we've said much in this second half. Jeffrey Wilson, who leads the conference in rushing yards per game at 133 yards per game. Only 12 carries and now just over 70 yards, but UTSA has really kept him in check tonight.
Yeah, he's had a really long run that's helped his yards in this football game, but he came off a little gingerly there on that particular play after that hit.
Nick Smith, the backup running back, is in, and he gets it. Into the middle, into open space, and Nate Gaines has to knock him down in the second line of defense.
Yeah, so North Texas's first guy goes out. UTSA thinks, okay, they're not going to give it to the second guy, and that's 2 successive running plays in a row, and you thought with a high snap might throw the rhythm of the play off a little bit, but indeed it did not. And now North Texas is marching here in the fourth quarter, down 4.
And all of a sudden a game that has felt comfortably in favor for UTSA after that second and third quarter. 1 touchdown for North Texas, and they grab the lead right back. And Fine's gonna go for it. Deep down the right sideline, it's a touchdown for Jalen Guyton. Who else but those two to give North Texas the lead here to start the fourth quarter.
I mean, this guy, wow. The separation that he gets, and then, you know, the coaches are telling us all week how Mason Fine is just super accurate. I mean, again, all Guyton has to do once he creates all the separation is stick his hands out.
Now you can see why he was the conference player of the week. That's another long scoring march. Oh, miscommunication. And North Texas is going to try to throw for the conversion. It's intercepted. And they don't convert the point after attempt, and they have now missed 2 point after attempts. That's going to potentially loom large here with a 22-20 ball game.
Well, they always do when you're chasing those points, especially towards the end of the game. So really good job there by Mosley to finish off the rest of that play. But, man, you just don't get many opportunities to put points on the board. But as we take a look at another look at the touchdown, Mr. Guyton rising up in the fourth.
Jalen Guyton, the reigning Conference USA Player of the Week after a 14-reception, 211-yard performance in their last game against Southern Miss. Well, 7 receptions, 176 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And he's put the Mean Green in front 22-20, but Chuck only 22 and not 23 because of a botched point after attempt.
Well, that's the second one they've had in this football game where they haven't been able to convert, and it's like it was a high snap and then the holder got it down, and then it's a funk fest after that.
Looked like Moore was racing behind him because he thought it was going over his head. And then they got it down. So the miscommunication there.
Yeah, and just looking at the game that number 6 Mason Fine has had, is he going to ask for a foot massage? Getting some retaping. I mean, this kid has taken some shots today and hung right in there. So is this guy, Dalton Sturm. This has been a lot of fun today.
Big plays have defined this game. 5 over 20 yards, including on those 2 touchdowns for Jalen Guyton for North Texas. Botch snap, and it goes to Jalen Rhodes anyway. And he's able to fall forward for a gain of 5.
Well, good job up front of guys staying with their blocks, but even better job by Jalen Rhodes. I mean, at that point, it's a scramble drill, and you're just trying to find any kind of a crease or some daylight to try to not make that a negative play. Turn that into a really nice game. So now we'll see if UTSA's offense can match what North Texas just did.
Still plenty of time in the fourth quarter, just about 3 minutes in. And North Texas has regained the lead. Rhodes wrapped up in the backfield. And that's Tillman Johnson making the tackle for the loss. Well, all fourth quarter action tonight on the Citywide Sports Network is presented by IHOP. Eat up every moment. I think that's what Tillman Johnson just did there. He ate up Jalen Rhodes in the backfield. Presents another 3rd and long for UTSA.
Yeah, Tillman Johnson and the rest of his buddies up front doing a much better job here in the second half, getting pressure in the backfield and just being more active.
Now this stadium has come alive. North Texas beat UTSA 2 years ago when the teams played here. Their only win in this series. And whistles blow the play dead. Delay a game on UTSA. Now that's going to make a 3rd and 6 infinitely more difficult, pushing them back 5 yards.
Might be a time to find number 4, Marquez McNair. UTSA needs to make something happen right here. Obviously, these possessions in the fourth quarter are precious. Penalty is not going to help matters.
Well, McNair does go into the slot down there at the bottom of the screen along with Josh Stewart. And Sturm wasn't ready for the snap, and more whistles fly. That's a false start, and look at the Mean Green sideline. They are absolutely fired up. They look like Chuck Mikatenik trying to dance to no music there.
For a second. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Well, crowd noise, you'd have to say, is playing a part on these last 2 plays. It's really gotten messy on the UTSA side, just trying to get the play off.
North Texas really hyped up this game. They wanted to get everyone out and make this place loud in a crucial West Division matchup. Sturm gives the handoff to Clay, who gets nowhere. That's Andy Flushy, a redshirt senior, a guy who has been through some of the lowest points of North Texas football and now on the upswing. And a big stop to give the ball back to his offense.
Yeah, huge stop, and then not only that, you get UTSA off the field, and you should have pretty decent field position after you just went down and scored on another big play.
3rd 3 and out for UTSA, and it'll give it right back to North Texas, who has some momentum after that last touchdown. And here comes pressure. Almost blocked. Rutsis got knocked down, but no flag. And the punt's fielded cleanly by Jalen Darden. And Rutsis is slow to get up, and he'll run back to the sideline.
I'd like to see that at some point. Wow.
North Texas a 2-point lead. They're looking for more. Mason Fine will lead the offense back out onto the field. The Mean Green led 13-0 to start the game. They then trailed at halftime, 17-16, and now North Texas leads once again. And a reminder, this has been a tremendous game. If you want to watch it again, you can watch it tomorrow in a Command Performance replay at 10 a.m. on KCWX. Fine gives it to Wilson, who is stood up, and UTSA piles on to drive it back.
Well, what's interesting, you know, we had the end of the third quarter and both teams put their hands in the air with the four fingers up, signifying this is our time. We want to rise up and own this fourth quarter. Now we'll see who does it. I mean, that was an awful good start to the fourth quarter for North Texas after they hadn't really done a whole lot in a quarter and a half. But, boy, these big plays that they've come up with today have really saved their bacon.
Jalen Guyton, always the big play threat. Vine was looking for him, now has to run out of the pocket and flings it to the far sideline. It was almost hauled in by Rico Bussey Jr. despite a lot of pressure from, once again, Marcus Davenport and the UTSA defensive line.
And the North Texas sideline was really irritated after the end of that one. They wanted a unsportsmanlike call on the sideline, but, man, these guys are just playing hard. You know, ball's away. DB's trying to make a play over there. Jupy.
Yeah, a lot on the line. North Texas has already played 2 conference games. UTSA 0-1, and just their second. A draw to Wilson, but Tauaefa read it well. And after the initial surge, Wilson chopped short of the first down marker and short of the 45-yard line.
Yeah, because that was going to be a really big play, and Tauaefa was still getting blocked and still fought through his block and was able to snuff that out to show you what kind of player he is. You know, people don't remember, or maybe they do, this guy was the leading freshman tackler in the entire nation a season ago and one of the top 10 regardless of class.
And how big was that? Alex Woodworth, you're right, he had Tauaefa blocked, and Josiah still made the tackle. Now UTSA will get it back, pending the Brady Jones fair catch, which he did make, although he had to run up a little bit to pull it in. UTSA, another chance to claw back into this one. 8:36 remaining in the game. The Roadrunners trail by 2. They'll have the ball after this. Our citywide sports network telecast calendar is brought to you by IHOP. Eat up every moment next Saturday night as UTSA hosts the Rice Owls at 6 p.m. on CW35 live from the Alamo Dome. Visit citywidesportsnetwork.com for our complete schedule of exciting college football and basketball games. CSN, where it all begins.
Yeah, and we got UTSA and UTEP the week after, and then the Trinity Tigers going to get some TV time.
I can't think of anything more exciting than this right now. 8:36 left, UTSA down, and Jalen Rhodes breaking free. But stopped just short of the first down marker by E.J. Agia.
You know, and as we watch this game unfold, you know, clearly the difference right now is explosive plays. North Texas is making them, and UTSA is not, although that's a great first run here on first down for Jalen Rhodes. UTSA could really use one of those big plays too.
Rhodes had a big touchdown run at Texas State. A career high 174 yards rushing that game. This time it's Clay who dives forward and has enough to move the sticks.
Now, you know, Coach Selfo, UTSA's offensive coordinator, he's got a lot of experience managing games. He was with the Jacksonville Jaguars at one point, calling the offense for those guys. And this is one of those things, you know, you want to, if you can, go on one of those long drives and eat up some of this clock if you don't get one of those explosive plays.
Handoff again to Clay, and he is upended in the backfield by Kyrie Muhammad. All right, now let's take a look at the top 25. The NCAA scores this evening are sponsored by MySA.com, the largest voice in South Texas for 150 years. And no surprise there, Alabama dominating as usual. Ohio State up big at Nebraska. But after a couple of top 25 upsets already last night, hey, nothing for granted here in the top 25. And USC is struggling at home, so it's going to be quite a bit of turnover in the top 25 next week. Tyrell Clay again can't shake free, and the ball came loose. No, it was still Clay. He was just down, then got up, and then was thrown back again. The surge of momentum, but Liasi Tawaralo kept chugging him back down.
Yeah, I tried to trick him there with a run. After the run on first play didn't work. Just North Texas, their defense has really risen up and done the job here. Really forcing UTSA into a third and long again.
That was the 9th tackle for loss by the Mean Green, and it forces a 3rd and 17. Roadrunners need the 35-yard line. Sturm has to escape. He's going to take off himself. Dalton Sturm towards the first down marker, and he has a first down rush.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Needed 17, got 19.
Oh, he got a little twist there, forced him out of the pocket, and he just saw Green in front of him. No pun intended, and I'm not so sure that last little roll that he did over the defender who was tackling him wasn't the impetus that gave him the first down. Just a great play all the way around by Dalton Sturm, and UTSA, boy, do they need that one.
Clay tries to keep the offense moving. Eric Jenkins says, how about you stop right here after a gain of 4. And that's the impressive thing about Dalton Sturm. As the quarterback, he's also their 2nd leading rusher this season. He came into the game having rushed for 198 yards, and now he has close to 50 yards rushing tonight.
All that while they've whittled down almost 4 minutes of this clock so far on this drive.
Under 5 minutes, and a 2-point deficit for the Roadrunners. Clay breaks the initial tackle, still charging forward across midfield and into Mean Green territory. And Joshua Wheeler had the initial attempt to get him in the backfield.
And just whiffed. And Clay doing an amazing job to just run through the arm tackle and move the sticks again for UTSA, and doing it all on the ground on this drive.
Still charging forward, this time Jalen Rhodes. And yeah, the Roadrunners want to take as many seconds as possible off this clock. What's interesting though, Chuck, you kind of put yourself in a situation where this is a must-have everything drive because of all the time clicking off the clock right now.
Well, you still got some timeouts left, but yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, you go right down the field, you milk the clock, you get your points, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and go win a football game. Don't give Mason Fine any time left on the clock.
Sturm the play action. Out of the pocket, back to Rhodes. He's got wide open space. Down the right sideline, Jalen Rhodes on his feet and into the end zone.
Look at Dalton Stern down on the other side of the field, doing some sort of shimmy on the ground. He liked that.
The play action pays off again for UTSA. Jalen Rhodes goes 46 yards the end zone, and the Roadrunners are back out in front.
Everybody thinks this thing's going left, and then Rhodes sneaks out to the right. Just a great cutback and great vision by Jalen Rhodes, who comes up big for the Roadrunners in the fourth quarter. No reason not to go for two here.
And how about those missed point after attempts by North Texas? They have missed two. Right now it's 26-22, could be 26-24. They don't want to play the what if game, but now UTSA, yeah, trying to push ahead even further. Sturm steps up, throws high, and over the head of Marquez McNair. Now the touchdown drive, but they can't convert the two-point conversion, and it's a 4-point lead for the Roadrunners. The waning minutes of this fourth quarter, we got a barn burner here. UTSA 26, North Texas 22. Heck of a finish coming up.
Game on.
.329 left in this ball game. And for those in San Antonio following the game, stay with us for the Thomas J. Henry post-game show. When you or your family need help, call Thomas J. Henry 24/7, nights and weekends, 210-656-1000. But before the postgame, I have a feeling we have a lot of action packed into the final 3 minutes and 29 seconds here at Apogee Stadium.
And this has been everything we build it up to be. One team leading the division of Conference USA, the West. Other team trying to get back in the race. It's been great.
A short kick. Here's Darden, spun around, still on his feet. Jalen Darden reverses field, and Darden has some space before he's finally rung around, thrown out of bounds, but a flag comes late. Now Jalen Darden staying on his feet. Might have just gotten his team an extra 5 and then 15 more yards.
Well, that was Daryl Godfrey, the former O'Connor star in San Antonio.
Personal foul. Late hit. Kicking team. Number 23. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the return. First down.
That's a tough one, but you know, you can see how these things happen. You got Darden who breaks the first tackle, and then all of a sudden, you know, panic starts to set in. You got to get this guy on the ground. And Godfrey's trying to, you know, shuck his blocker and make a play. He may not even be aware where he's at on the field, but
now Devron Davis is trying
costly
to hold him back as he crashed into him. And that is a costly one indeed. After Andrew Martell had him wrapped up, Darden gets the extra yardage. And here's another Jalen. Guyton has nowhere to go as he is locked up by Carl Austin III.
yeah, big time play by Carl Austin, because we've seen Guyton on that play several times tonight. It's been a tough thing to stop. Such a talented player Guyton is. You know that this is not the last time that North Texas is going to seek him out with under 3 to go in this football game.
26-22. And those missed point after attempts loom large for North Texas right now. Over the middle, low ball, but hauled in. Jalen Guyton once again. I have a feeling Mason Fine's going to target Jalen Guyton a few more times in this drive.
Yeah, he has all night, and for good reason. I mean, this guy, we've seen how special he is and how hard he is to contain, and just speed to burn. You got to try to keep him in front of you, which UTSA has done right there, but he still finds a way to get his.
3rd and 2. North Texas does have all 3 of their timeouts.
Of a completed catch is under review.
They're going to look at that one. Challenges do come from the booth, so it's not like a coach had to call that challenge and there's something the replay official wants to look at. Well, while we wait for that, 26-22, I'd like to remind you that tonight's second half scoreboard is sponsored by Homevestors. Need to sell your home quickly? Call Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people. 1-800-44-BUYER.
How big is this play? As you see, Fine gets rid of the ball quickly. And hard to tell from that angle. Sure looked like a catch there. And hard to get a look there.
Now from what we see, Guyton has his arms under it. Although I think our success rate on predicting these challenges is about 1 in 10.
It always is. It's like you always say, you take a play on the field, which is a judgment call, and then you send it up to the booth for another judgment call.
Now this one was a pretty quick review, though.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 3rd down.
The rare occurrence where you hear the home crowd cheer for a 3rd down, but a much shorter 3rd down if that had been incomplete.
Absolutely. Because regardless, you have to believe that UNT is going to have 2 plays here to try to pick up the sticks.
Now North Texas needs midfield. Fine takes it himself, trying to find space, and Mason Fine will find none of it. Josiah Tauaefa again helped lead that charge, and C.J. Levine made sure Fine wasn't getting forward.
Just a great job stringing it out, I should say. And then guys just running to the football. Tauaefa has just got amazing closing speed, and 4th down coming for North Texas.
And these teams want to talk it over. Not surprising. Perhaps the play of the game right here
UTSA.
with 93 seconds left.
It will be 30 seconds.
And that's the second timeout for UTSA. Oh, North Texas does have 3 timeouts. So if they don't convert, the game is not over. They could call their timeouts and potentially get the ball back. But it would be a crushing blow for the Mean Green. And you kind of sense that the game boils down to this play.
Yeah, without a doubt, because you're right. They do have all 3 of their timeouts, but 1 first down essentially wins this football game for UTSA.
Here's what's on the line, and those are the Conference USA standings. They're presented by MySA.com, the largest voice in South Texas for 150 years. UTSA has split their first 2 conference games in each of the last 5 years. Well, right now they're 0-1. They have to win this to keep that going. And North Texas is off to its best conference start since 2004, and that was back in the Southland Conference, the Sun Belt Conference, rather.
Playing football here for an awful long time.
Fine was ready to go. The officials weren't quite ready.
All right, let's do it.
North Texas 7 for 11 this year on 4th down conversions. Handoff, Wilson, he has no space, and Jeffrey Wilson is denied the first down. Kevin Strong made the tackle. C.J. Levine was in the backfield as well. And North Texas turns it over on downs with 1:28 left.
Well, those big guys up front, they do the job every single week, it seems like, for UTSA, and just all kinds of pressure on the run blitz, almost snuffing that thing out. North Texas going 3 wide over on the far side. Turns out it was just window dressing, and UTSA just completely jammed that play up from the get-go. Had multiple hats in the backfield.
They are fired up on the visiting sideline. Reminiscent of the season opening win for UTSA. They stopped Baylor and then ran out the clock for one of the bigger wins in program history. Handoff goes to Rhodes, and he dives forward for a few yards. Well, now it's time to look at your CSN Player of the Game, presented by John Wayne Home Service Company. And who is it, Chuck?
North Texas.
Well, let me guess.
It will be 30 seconds. Please put 124.
You know,
big man on defense.
We talked about Marcus Davenport even at halftime, and we've pretty much seen him every week this season. And as good as he's been, and he has been good, this was his all-timer today. I mean, he already had his coming out party many, many, many games ago. But the senior really just, I mean, he just looks like he's next level better than everybody else.
8 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble for Marcus Davenport. There's a reason he was a first-team all-conference selection this season.
You know, he's been healthy.
For UTSA,
yeah, healthy, putting up numbers. You know he demands constant attention and double teams, and yet none of that seems to matter. You talked about what a great athlete he was coming out of high school and being a basketball player at Stevens. I mean, he's just got all the intangibles that the next level guys love.
The big charge forward by Jalen Rhodes. Looks like he's short of the first down marker, though. Tackle made by Colton McDonald. And now you can say the game comes down to this play. 1 timeout left for North Texas. And a 3rd down and very short coming up for UTSA.
So it's your best play here. I mean, yeah, you're going to be able to punt this thing down the field even if you don't pick up the sticks, but a chance to ice this game right here. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Coach Wilson and Frank Selfo, his offensive coordinator, come up with here, because, yeah, you get the sticks here and this game is over. If you don't get it, you do just a little dive play and it gets jammed up, then Mason Fine's going to have another crack. And they've got weapons on the other side, as we've seen tonight, especially that Guyton kid. Mercies, he had a nice game tonight. So
3rd and 3 officially marked.
Your best play right here, your best, safest play, make it happen.
Rhodes in the backfield. Handoff to Rhodes. He's tackled at the line and stopped short. Roderick Young got into the backfield, and now it's a very interesting decision for the Roadrunners.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement. They tried to give him some different looks, but Roderick Young and company having none of it. Huge stop for North Texas there for the first 3 downs.
Rhodes didn't get anything, so still 4th and 3. Chuck, well, we've seen UTSA go for it a couple of times tonight. They've been successful. 2 for 2 on 4th downs tonight. Do you risk it right here?
Well, going back to what I said earlier, I mean, conventional wisdom is you've taken the #1 offense in this conference and held it to 22 points tonight. So I think looking at the scoreboard, your defense has done the job. Having said that, we know that Coach Wilson does not think conventionally sometimes. And he knows his squad better than we do. And it looks as though they are going to line up to punt this thing.
It's interesting that Darden is back. North Texas brought the house last punt. It's a high, short punt. And it takes an absolutely perfect UTSA bounce.
Yanni Roots is doing his job. You know, the last punt that he had careened into the end zone, and I know he wasn't real thrilled about that, but boy, you couldn't have asked for a better punt.
Well, all right, Mason Fine. All you have to do is go 98 yards down the field to win this game. No timeouts, 98 yards. Your team trails by 4. See if Mason Fine has anything left, or if Jalen Guyton has any more magic left.
Well, and that's
in
the
this
thing.
game.
You've got to still, I think you've got to bring some pressure, because if you give Mason Fine time to throw, you're also giving Guyton time to run, and that's what would concern me the most.
Here comes some pressure. Fine over the middle. And Michael Lawrence is dragged down at a short gain. UTSA just slacking off. They're going to give him that, especially with no timeouts and the clock still ticking. No first down there.
Well, I like that they were still bringing some heat.
Here comes Tawaefa. Fine to the sidelines. Rico Bussey Jr. with a reception. That stops the clock. And now North Texas has moved out of the shadow of its own end zone.
UTSA will take that all day long. Keep everything in front of you and get some pressure on the quarterback, and do not let number 9 beat you deep.
Yeah, still 80 yards to go for North Texas, trailing by 4. Fine has to escape. He's going to throw it long down the sidelines and too high, out of bounds. That's the second time Rico Bussey Jr. has made a catch, and a very good one, only to be out of bounds and have it brought back.
Well, again, UTSA doing a lot of different things schematically and giving Mason Fine a lot to look at. They looked like they were going to bring the pressure again that side and then drop very deep into coverage. So they're giving him some different looks right here. Try to junk it up and make it as difficult as possible for him as he tries to navigate this offense down the field with only 41 ticks left.
Jalen Guyton is at the top of the screen. He's been a menace all day for the UTSA defense. Fine, gonna chuck it downfield. And it's caught! Caught by Lawrence.
Austin Jupi had it. He did everything right, but time has jumped. He saw it, he tracked the ball, he just left his feet too soon.
Clock stops, 32 seconds left, ball on the 31 for North Texas. Trying to pull off perhaps the biggest win in the young Seth Luttrell era. And a timeout by UTSA to kind of calm everyone down over there.
Well, now you got to change your defense too. Now the goal is still the same. You got to keep him out of the end zone, but look, Austin Jupi is right there. He just left his feet a smidge too soon.
Was it a little push? Kind of looks like there might have been a little sly receiver move those good receivers do, but you're right,
Absolutely.
The timing for Jupi just underneath that ball.
Yeah, that's what the best receivers do. They find a way to get some separation, and they do it any way they can.
Now this matchup's lived up to everything we expected.
Absolutely, and then some. You said something about last team having the ball might win this thing, but both of these defenses have played reasonably well too, considering the skill level that they're facing from the opposing offense.
North Texas needed a game-winning field goal on September 23rd here against UAB. That was their last home game. And they conjure up some more magic. Fine downfield. Hauled in, but short of the first down marker, so the clock's still going. And now it's under 20 seconds left. Fine spikes it. And I'm not sure if North Texas knew right away that they didn't get the first down, but then they scrambled to the line of scrimmage to spike that ball. 17 seconds left and third down, trailing by 4.
Man, this has been some kind of game. Win, lose, or draw. We know we're not going to see a draw with a 4-point difference on the scoreboard, though.
Here comes pressure. Fine got hit, throws it and it's caught. Bussey Jr. has space to the 10-yard line, and he's going to take it into the end zone. North Texas scores with 10 seconds left to take the lead.
Amazing.
But Mason Fine is in a lot of pain. He might have just sacrificed his body for the biggest win in Seth Luttrell's young tenure.
C.J. Levine got a wicked shot on him, and then once the ball got free and the receiver was running clean, you knew it was going to be awfully hard for UTSA to make this stop. One crack right there. Devron Davis can't make it happen. And here's the shot from C.J. Levine. Just a smidge too late, and just a player making a play by Mason Fine. Unbelievable football game.
And Frank Wilson is on the field in the ear of a couple of officials. You know, Bussey did tiptoe down the sidelines. Maybe he wanted to look at that one. And a broken down play, and Mason Fine makes it happen. And Rico Bussey skirts through the traffic. Kick is up and good.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Now Mason Fine tonight, 20 for 34, 354 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he just marched his team 98 yards down the field in 57 seconds with no timeouts.
And again, big plays. It's what cost UTSA against Southern Miss, and it has been a huge bugaboo today. I mean, for the most part, they've done a great job considering how talented and multifaceted this offense is. But there's just been too many huge explosion plays that, to this point, have been hard to overcome. But that's some kind of drive, man. That's one for the books.
If North Texas holds on, that is indeed one for the books. They'd be 3-0 in Conference USA and 4-2 on the season, with wins over Southern Miss and UTSA already. But Brett Winnigan nearly broke one earlier. And he is at the 4-yard line. 10 seconds left. North Texas leads by 3. Kicks it back to him, but Winnigan lets it go out of the end zone. Now UTSA is also out of timeouts. So it's going to be very difficult to try to get something down and set up a field goal.
Well, you know, you got the safe pass on a dig, and then it's going to probably be hook and ladder central. You might be able to run one play where you could do a quick out, maybe get yourself a little closer. And I don't know if they've got anybody in the ballpark that can throw a Hail Mary from 70 yards.
You always have, you're right, interesting end-of-game scenarios. When you're back all the way at your own 25, few laterals, we'll see what UTSA can do. Sturm taking a lot of time. He flings over to Stewart, who gets rid of it, tosses it back. It's on the ground. McNair comes up with it. He flings it over, and this one is still bouncing around. A flag comes out, and UTSA still running with it. Now ball's on the turf, and it is down, and North Texas is going to come up with the win. They're keeping the sideline back just in case that flag was on the mean green, which would keep the game going.
Illegal forward pass. Number 4, return team.
Well, the official just said game's not over, although everyone on the North Texas sideline thinks it is. They have sprinted onto the field, and the mean green pull off a 29-26 win. They led early. They had to rally back from a halftime deficit. And North Texas now 3-0 in conference. And a huge, huge win to knock off UTSA. The Mean Green now 4-2 on the season.
Great football game.
Instant classic, right?
Absolutely. And worth watching the replay tomorrow morning. I know it's tough for UTSA. That's the second back-breaking loss in a row that they've had where you just don't quite have enough at the end. And what a ball game. I mean, I'm at a loss for words.
Well, right now, Gary's standing down with the winning coach, Seth Luttrell.
Coach Luttrell, can you just sum up what we just saw here tonight?
Well, it's just credit to our kids, man. They fight all the way to the end. They made some big plays down there to get us in position to where we had an opportunity to win the game. But it wasn't pretty, but I was really excited about how hard we stuck together, overcame adversity as a team, and it's a total team credit win.
Your quarterback, that guy is tough. He took some monster shots tonight, and he kept getting up, albeit sometimes limping, but obviously he led this team down here for a winning drive. What can you say about your quarterback tonight?
He's phenomenal. UTSA has a really good defense and a really good overall team, and you got to give them a lot of credit, but Mason's a fighter. He's tough. The guys around him believe in him, and he's a special player.
Coach, I know you were mentioning you guys had a couple individual goals, some tears. You want to stay unscathed at home. You're able to do that tonight, and you said this UTSA team was going to be the toughest competition you saw tonight. Is that exactly what you predicted?
Well, yeah, and we knew they were a great football team. There's a lot of great football teams in Conference USA. Well, I truly believe this conference can play with anybody, and from top to bottom, week in and week out, you're going to have great opponents, and it's going to be every week's going to be a challenge.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you.
Well, a big win there for North Texas. And I think we might have one more interview down there on the field. Let's go down there to Gary, back on the field.
Here with Jalen Guyton. Jalen, you had yourself quite the game, 2 scores. Sum up what we just saw here tonight.
Say that again?
Sum up what we just saw here tonight. Obviously, you guys had to battle back.
Listen, sum it up. You saw UNT coming to this game, coming to a fight, duke it out with a really good team, and come out with a dub.
Listen, you guys went into halftime, and you don't really trail very often this season. Your head coach said, listen, we're going to be fine. We're not going to deviate from that game plan. Obviously, you and Mason were a big part of that game plan. Sum up what you saw from your quarterback.
Just hard, man, bro. We come out here and we fight. Like I said, it was like a boxing match. We was just exchanging blows with a good team, man. It's worked all through the week, all through the summer. He came out here, he put his heart on the line. Each and every one of us did.
Jalen, you're still fired up, man. It looks like you could probably play another couple quarters.
I could go, man. I could go a couple more games, bro.
Your coach said that you guys have a couple individual goals. 1, stay undefeated at home, and 2, take care of business tonight against UTSA, which he said was going to be the toughest team you guys played this season. So far, about halfway through, was he right?
I mean, so far, yeah. We just try to take each opponent one step at a time. Our overall mission is, like he says, to go undefeated. But how we look at it is going 1-0 every week. You know what I mean? Going 1-0 every single day, every single week, and we gonna come out on top that way.
Jalen, last question for you. How do you top tonight's performance next week here? You had 2 scores and a bunch of yards.
Work. We're gonna go back. We got practice Sunday. I got work tomorrow.
All right, Jalen, going back to work. Congratulations on the night and the win. All right, I gotta throw it back up to you guys because Jalen's gonna hit the weight room or something or go play some more football. This guy is hyped.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate all the work down there on the field. And Jalen Guyton certainly one to dominate tonight. 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Well, tonight's CSN telecast, the Mean Green Football, is a Learfield presentation with Quarter Moon Productions. For those that have been watching on CW33 Dallas, good night from Apogee Stadium in Denton with the final score. North Texas 29, UTSA 26. For those of us in San Antonio, stay with us for the Thomas J. Henry postgame show. Well, a terrific ball game here tonight. And North Texas comes out with the 29-26 win. Chuck, can we kind of just sum up what we just saw here? A tremendous ball game between two of the best teams in the West Division.
Well, it was interesting the way this thing started. You know, you have the first quarter where North Texas is just running all the way up and down the field, and then UTSA kind of settles in. They get on a little scoring run there where they converted a few of their drives into points, and then, you know, it looks like UTSA is going to take control in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden North Texas bounces back with some great defense. They get some help from UTSA's offense when it kind of sputtered a little bit, but just an amazing football game start to finish. And, you know, it's interesting. We hype these games every week, and sometimes you can tell the games that are going to be better than others, obviously, but I don't know that we would have predicted this good a football game start to finish.
Well, tonight's play of the game is presented by Homevestors. Need to sell your home quickly? Call Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people, 1-800-44-BUYER. No surprise, the play of the game tonight.
It's just a tough play when you don't get home and you're bringing the house, and then the receiver is running free like that, and then the defenders have to stop. They don't have a head start in terms of trying to catch him, and then, you know, Mason Fine just hanging in there to the last possible second until his guy flew open, and it's just a back-breaking play for UTSA, and obviously a home run hit for North Texas catching UTSA because they were able to get the ball away free, but just too many big plays given up by UTSA tonight, and that's what ultimately did them in.
Well, it's a win for North Texas, and more of the Thomas J. Henry postgame show comes up after this.
Hopefully they get Rice next. Crap out of there.
What are we doing here? Oh, highlights?
Good game. Big boy stuff.
All right, get ready, guys.
Welcome back to the Thomas J. Henry post-game show. The CSN final stats of tonight's game are brought to you by Thomas J. Henry. A lot of offense, and we kind of expected that between North Texas, the best offense in the conference, and UTSA, the second best offense in the conference, and look at these passing numbers.
Yeah, they're just ridiculous. I mean, to think that UTSA gave up 354 in this game. But honestly, I mean, you talk about how many explosive players they have, especially on the outside. I mean, Jalen Guyton had an amazing game. Just a shade under 200 yards receiving and the 2 touchdowns. And you saw how excited he was after the ball game when he was doing Gary's interview. But, you know, time of the possession was about the same. Total yards roughly the same, too. Again, you know, average yards per play, all these things start to look the same. It just comes down to one final possession and one really good quarterback with his hands on the ball last, and a very talented team on the other end of it and making a couple of really big plays. I mean, they have no timeouts. They got to go 95 yards to make this all happen, and they're able to do it. And, you know, honestly, the kid Bussey that scores the winning touchdown, he was one of the fewest guys, or he saw the fewest number of target plays during the whole course of the game. So it doesn't have to be the 1, 2, 3, or 4 options. Sometimes the 5th guy beats you with this team. And, you know, but it's one of those games, it's one for the record books, you know? I mean, you watch it, you have a good time watching it. You know, if you're a UTSA fan, you obviously don't like the outcome, but just an amazing performance by both teams. And unfortunately, the last team that had its hands on the ball was the one that won this football game.
A lot of offense. Both quarterbacks were tremendous. And let's take a look at how it happened. The second half highlights, our post-game highlights, brought to you by Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the steak dinner done right. I mean, we talk about it so much. Mason Fine down the stretch on this final drive. Well, first of all, you know, UTSA coming up big on defense to kind of set up their offense going forward.
You know, and both of these defenses really, I thought, played well after that first quarter. And then, you know, you saw the interception, and then UTSA making their stand, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got the offenses start kicking it back into gear. They swing it back the other way for Jalen Rhodes. Looks like UTSA is going to have a walk-off win, scoring with, you know, not that much time left on the clock, and then they were able to burn even more time off the clock. But North Texas got one more chance at the ball. They got the big stop, forcing UTSA to punt the football, and then they had the one huge play down the field that set it all up. And then, you know, once that ball got past the 50-yard line, you knew anything could possibly happen. And it did.
It did get lost in the shuffle, but that pass to Jalen Rhodes was terrific, and then North Texas kind of upstages with the final drive to win. Well, more post-game coverage coming up. North Texas pulls off a big win, 29-26. They're 3-0 in conference.
designated for student-athlete scholarships, as well as a variety of personal and academic enrichment programs. Because of the scholarship support hurricane, I'm able to compete against the best Division I level programs, while pursuing my degree in criminal justice. With annual gifts starting at as low as $25, you can help contribute to the continued success of major student-athlete scholarships, while enjoying exclusive benefits, including including game day parking, special ticket offers, and more. To make your gift to help protect $25, you can help contribute to the continued success of major student athletes' life while enjoying exclusive benefits, including game day parking, special ticket offers, and more. To make your gift to help protect athletics, go champions, prepare leaders, please visit www.maingreenclub.com or call 940-369-7284. Don't